Chapter 445. Right. Actually, it's not a big deal. Shen Jingxian thought that Jean Beibei had listened to her. However, out of her expectation, Jean Beibei said, "That's right. If I were the owner of the villa, I could drive her away. I have to buy the villa." Pooh. Shen Jingxian was dumbfounded. What? Shen Jingxian was stunned. She looked at Jean Beibei in a daze. What kind of logic was that? She wanted to buy the villa? What do you think, Sister Jingxian? You think it's a good idea too, don't you? Oh, it was you who suggested it. So, you hate Yi Xiaoya too, don't you? Jean Beibei said. Beibei, it's not a good idea, is it? There's no reason to drive her away. Besides, Shen Jingxian did not finish her sentence. She had a big fight with Xiao Chun because of Yi Xiaoya. Now that they were on good terms again, Shen Jingxian showed that she did not care about it anymore. If she still supported Jean Beibei to drive Yi Xiaoya away, Xiao Chun would definitely be unhappy if he learned about it. For some reason, Shen Jingxian began to care about Xiao Chun's opinion very much. Is it really not a good idea? Jean Beibei found it a little strange. She had thought that Shen Jingxian would support her, but it seemed that she did not hate Yi Xiaoya as much as before. However, it did not seem right. According to her previous observation, Shen Jingxian should hate Yi Xiaoya very much. The way she looked at her was not quite right. But in the blink of an eye, she no longer hated Yi Xiaoya? It's really not a good idea. Besides, if Xiao Chun really likes her, there would be no reason for me to stop him, would there? Shen Jingxian said. Beibei, you're also from a big family. You should know that in the world of the strong, women are always the vassals of these martial arts masters. It's unrealistic to want to control and change their way of thinking. Why worry about nothing? Oh, Jean Beibei nodded and said, I know. Sister Jingxian means that we have to do it. But we can't let our cousin-in-law find out. We have to do it secretly, and no one will know. That's all right, right? Ahem. Shen Jingxian thought that Jean Beibei had heard the first half of her words. She did not expect the latter half to be completely different. Beibei, do you hate Yi Xiaoya that much? Shen Jingxian asked curiously. Jean Beibei said angrily. It's her fault for always mocking cousin Menjing. When I was not here, cousin Menjing was always at a disadvantage when she confronted her. In fact, I don't have a grudge against her. I just feel unfair for cousin Menjing. It turned out to be because of Menjing. Shen Jingxian suddenly understood, but she was a little puzzled. Then why didn't you tell Menjing? Why are you looking for me? You still don't know cousin Menjing's personality? She would rather die than admit that she likes cousin-in-law. Whenever I talk to her about this topic, she will pinch, kick, and beat me to death. Sigh. Jean Beibei said gloomily. But I thought that Sister Jingxian would definitely support me since she is already with cousin-in-law. I didn't expect that you wouldn't support me either. I really can't do anything on my own. Beibei, I think you'd better not worry about it. Menjing hasn't said anything yet, and you are already helping her to drive Yi Xiaoya away. By then if my affair, will she send you to drive me away? Shen Jingxian was a little worried. No, she won't. I'll keep it a secret for you. Let's form the Black Leaf Alliance, Jean Beibei said. I'd better not get involved. But I will support you in other matters. If you want to be with Xiao Chun, I won't oppose it either. Shen Jingxian said. Forget about my affair. You should prioritize cousin Menjing. Sigh, if Sister Jingxian wasn't cousin Menjing's best friend, I would also want to drive you away. But I don't have a choice now, Jean Beibei said. Hee. Then I have to thank you, Beibei, Shen Jingxian said with a smile. You're welcome. Anyway, I don't have the final say. When the time comes, cousin Menjing will have the final say, Jean Beibei said. Borrow some money from cousin-in-law tomorrow. Borrow money? Shen Jingxian was stunned. To buy a house, Jean Beibei said. Shen Jingxian was speechless. The two walked out of the bathroom while chatting. They dried themselves and were about to lie on the bed to rest for a while. Suddenly, Shen Jingshuan's phone rang. Shen Jingxian glanced at it and saw that it was her father, Shen Jinghao. It's so late. Why is my father looking for me? Shen Jingxian answered the phone doubtfully. Dad, are you looking for me? Jingxian, where are you? Have you rested yet? Shen Jinghao sounded a little anxious. Not yet. I'm at Menjing's place. Dad, what's wrong? Is there anything wrong? Shen Jingxian asked hurriedly. Your grandpa is critically ill. Your second great-grandfather came out of seclusion in advance. Jingmao and I are on our way back. We called you before, but you didn't answer, so we left first. Make an appointment with Master White Fox, and see if he can come back with you, Shen Jinghao said hurriedly. I was taking a shower just now. Maybe I didn't hear it. Shen Jingxian suddenly remembered that they were in the bathroom. The soundproofing was very good, so they couldn't hear anything outside. I'll try and see if I can find him. In fact, Shen Jingxian was a little worried. Could Xiao Chen go home with her? His other identity didn't allow him to leave. How was she going to tell Xiao Chen? Okay, let's do it this way. I'll call your uncle and ask him what's going on, Shen Jinghao said and hung up the phone. Holding the phone in her hand, Shen Jingxian was a little absent-minded. Although she and Jing Mao weren't well liked in the Shen family, their grandpa was still very good to them when they were young. However, there were many outstanding children in the Shen family. When she and her brother grew up, they followed their father to Songning City and gradually lost contact with the Shen family. But now that she heard that her grandpa was critically ill, her memory suddenly floated to the time when her grandpa brought them to sit in the yard, watching the twinkling stars and telling them stories. He said that everyone was a star in the sky. When that person grew old and left, the corresponding star in the sky would dim. Now, Grandpa was critically ill. Could he make it? Shen Jingxian knew that her grandpa's health had been deteriorating over the years, but she didn't expect this day to come so soon. She found it hard to accept. Sister Jingxian, what's wrong? Why are you unhappy all of a sudden? Jean Bebe looked at Shen Jingxian, who was a little sad, and asked. Bebe, my grandpa is critically ill. I have to go back to the Shen family tonight. Shen Jingxian said. Let's go and find Minjing. I can borrow a car from her. Grandpa Shen is critically ill? Jean Bebe was shocked. Then why don't you ask my cousin-in-law to go back with you? How can he accompany me? His identity is Xiao Chun, not White Fox. Shen Jingxian couldn't help but smile bitterly. He leave it to Bebe. Jean Bebe patted her chest and promised. Huh. Shen Jingxian was stunned. Jean Bebe had already gone out and walked to Chung Minjing's room. She pushed the door open. Chung Minjing was lying on the bed and playing with her tablet computer. Seeing Jean Bebe, she felt a little strange. Bebe, didn't you sleep with Jingxian? Why are you back? Hey Jingxian, you're back too? Minjing, my dad just called me. My dad is critically ill. I have to go back to the Shen family. Can you lend me a car? I have to drive back tonight. Shen Jingxian said anxiously. Chung Minjing was stunned immediately. Jingxian, you want to drive back by yourself? It's so late. Even if it's urgent, it's not good, right? Why didn't Uncle Shen come to pick you up? I was taking a shower with Bebe just now. My phone was left outside. We chatted inside for a while, which delayed my time. My dad might not be able to contact me, so I left first, Shen Jingxian said with some distress. Now I have to go back by myself. But it's so late. It's so dangerous for you to drive back alone. Chung Minjing said worriedly. Where's White Fox? Isn't he your boyfriend? Ask him to go with you. He's out of town and can't come back for the time being. I can only ask him to go there directly, Shen Jingxian said. I'll drive slowly. Why don't you leave tomorrow morning? It's so late. You haven't run long distances before. Can you do it? Chung Minjing tried to dissuade her. I really can't, Shen Jingxian said anxiously. My grandpa was very good to me when I was young. Now he's critically ill. According to my dad, I'm afraid he can't make it this time. If I can't see him, I sigh. Chung Minjing was in a dilemma after hearing Shen Jingshuan's words. Cousin Minjing, I have a good idea, but I need your approval. Jean Bebe suddenly said. Oh, what idea needs my approval? Chung Minjing looked at Jean Bebe and asked curiously. Here's the thing. Actually, you can ask your cousin-in-law to accompany Sister Jingxian. Jean Bebe said. Don't forget that your cousin-in-law is an expert racer. Even if it's late, it's not a problem for him to drive on the highway. He is a transformer. Who can possibly run into him? Huh, that does make sense. Chung Minjing thought for a moment. It was true that Xiao Chun was a good driver. And he was a man. It would not be a bad idea to ask him to accompany Shin Jingxian. However, she was somewhat worried. Jingxian, will White Fox misunderstand you if Xiao Chun goes back with you? I don't think so. Isn't he your fiancé? He is White Fox's lackey. White Fox knows him. Shin Jingxian finally understood what Jean Beibei meant. She could not help but admire her. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Chun had a legitimate reason to accompany her. Also, it would not raise Cheng Minjing's suspicion. That's good. I'll talk to Xiao Chun and ask him to accompany you home. While speaking, Cheng Minjing picked up her phone and dialed Xiao Chun's number. Xiao Chun returned to his room and was about to brew the medicine. He had put in all the ingredients and set the time, when he suddenly realized that one of the ingredients was missing. Chapter 446. As soon as Xiao Chun poured out the medicinal materials and repacked them, his phone rang. He was slightly stunned. It's so late. Who's calling me? Could it be that Yi Xiaoye is anxious and calls me to ask if I want to have dual cultivation with her? However, to Xiao Chun's surprise, it was Miss Qin who called. Hello Minjing, what's up? What's the matter? Xiao Chun quickly asked. Xiao Chun, are you free now? Cheng Minjing asked. Yes. Xiao Chun felt a little strange, but he still said, what do you want me to do? Then come upstairs. Let's talk. Cheng Minjing said and hung up the phone. Xiao Chun went upstairs in a hurry and came to Cheng Minjing's room. He knocked on the door, and Cheng Minjing's voice came from inside. Please come in. Minjing, are you looking for me? Xiao Chun pushed the door open and entered. What he saw was Jean Beibei and Shin Jingxian in thin pajamas. Miss Qin might not have taken a bath, so she was sitting on the edge of the bed in thick pajamas. Xiao Chun's nose almost spurted blood. If Shin Jingxian hadn't touched his nose just now, he might have spurted blood now. Shin Jingshuan's beautiful hair was messy, and her body was wet with water drops. The pajamas in front of her half covered her breasts, but she didn't notice it at all. After taking a bath, she put on a silk pajamas and was about to go to bed, but she received a call. Therefore, she ran over in a hurry and didn't notice the translucent pajamas on her. Jean Beibei was even more awesome. She was only wrapped in a bath towel, not even a pajamas. Because of the pressure of the bath towel, her breasts were white, which made Xiao Chun feel dizzy. Her breasts were even bigger than Tang Tang's. Sure enough, it made sense that she often said that her breasts hurt. Who wouldn't feel pain with such a big burden on their bodies? Jingxian Beibei, your breasts. Miss Qin looked a little unnatural. She glared at Xiao Chun and threw a pillow towel on his face, stopping him from appreciating their intimate moment. Ah! Jean Beibei and Shin Jingxian realized it at the same time. Shin Jingxian blushed. Although she and Xiao Chun had sex before, she was still a little embarrassed to be seen naked in such a situation. Although Jean Beibei was bold, she couldn't stand it anymore when it came to the real thing. She quickly jumped onto the bed and crawled into Cheng Minjing's quilt, only exposing her head. Then she said, cousin-in-law, it's done. You can see it now. Xiao Chun took off the pillow towel on his head, only to hear Shin Jingshuan's voice. Hey Beibei, I'm not done yet. Why did you ask him to take it off? Oh. Jean Beibei stuck out her tongue and said, then cousin-in-law, you can cover it again. I can just close my eyes. Xiao Chun closed his eyes, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Who could have foreseen that he would see such a scene when he went upstairs? What had he done before? It's done, Shin Jingxian said timidly. She had put on a coat quickly, which Cheng Minjing had hung on the hanger next to the door. Now, can you tell me what's going on? Don't tell me that you want me to come up and see you making a fuss, Xiao Chun murmured gloomily. Although you're right, I still have to say that I'm a gentleman. Enough, Xiao Chun. Don't act like you're innocent. Cheng Minjing glared at him and said, I have something serious to tell you. I order you to accompany Jingxian back home. Back home? Now. Xiao Chun was slightly stunned. Then he nodded and said, okay. Are we going back to get something? It's not the villa in Songming City. It's the Shen family in Lan City. Cheng Minjing said, is there a problem? No problem. But, why are you going so far? Xiao Chun was a little puzzled. My grandfather is critically ill. I have to rush back overnight. Shen Jingxian explained. Xiao Chen, sorry to trouble you. Oh, that's not troublesome. Xiao Chen shook his head. Okay, no problem. Isn't it just being a driver? I'm a professional driver. Xiao Chen, you have to protect Jingshuan's safety. Also drive carefully, Cheng Minjing reminded. When you reach Lan City, report to us that you're safe. Okay. Then, should I come back immediately? Or should I bring Jingxian back after everything is over? Xiao Chen asked. It depends on the situation, Cheng Minjing said. If White Fox goes there, then you can come back first. If not, you have to send her back. Or Jingxian and Uncle Shen will come back together. Okay, I understand. Xiao Chen nodded. Then I'll go downstairs to prepare. Okay. It just so happened that Shen Jingxian was also going to change her clothes. Xiao Chen went downstairs. He was a little excited. Being able to return to the Shen family with Goddess Shen was actually a dream of his before. It was just that the timing was not right. Now that Shen Jingshuan's grandfather was critically ill, the Shen family must be in a state of anxiety. It was not good for him to show off. After thinking about it, Xiao Chen still brought his own herbs and some of the dregs from before. He wasn't sure about the problem of Shen Jingshuan's grandfather for the time being. Maybe the dregs could be useful. As for the other things, Xiao Chen didn't need to bring them. He sent a message to Yi Xiaoya, telling her that he had something to do recently and couldn't come to her for dual cultivation. When he came back, he would look for her immediately. Although Yi Xiaoya was a little regretful, she didn't force it. After all, everyone had their own things to do. Xiao Chen went to the living room after getting ready. Shen Jingxian also came downstairs. This time, there was no need to ask Cheng Minjing to borrow a car. Xiao Chen could just drive his own car. The two looked at each other. From each other's eyes, they read a trace of a different meaning. In fact, if it was any other time, Shen Jingxian would be very happy to go home with Xiao Chen. But now she only felt anxious. They didn't stop and directly walked out of the villa. When Xiao Chen was about to get in the car, he heard Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice. Wait! Huh? Xiao Chen's footsteps slightly stopped. There are devil centipede fruits in the flower bed, Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Oh. After hearing this, Xiao Chen hurriedly turned around and walked in the direction of the flower bed. This was the place where Yi Xiaoya planted plants every day. Before this, Xiao Chen really didn't pay much attention to it. After all, what kind of good medicine could be grown in a flower bed? Didn't those precious medicinal herbs grow in the deep mountains and forests that were full of heaven and earth spirit qi? However, there was a dazzling array of medicinal herbs in the flower bed. For a moment, Xiao Chen was dazzled. There were some that he didn't recognize, and he didn't know which devil centipede fruit was. The third row, the second one. Elder Heaven Ancestor seemed to know what Xiao Chen was thinking and directly reminded him. Of course, he really knew what Xiao Chen was thinking. Xiao Chen looked in the direction that Elder Heaven Ancestor was pointing. Sure enough, he saw two red fruits. They looked red and tender. One look, and he could tell that they were delicious. Is it this one? Xiao Chen was afraid that he would make a mistake, so he pointed at the small fruit and asked. Yes, it's this one, Elder Heaven Ancestor said. I really didn't expect that there would be devil centipede fruit here. If I hadn't casually sensed it, I really wouldn't have found it. But this is Yi Xiaoya's thing. Xiao Chen was a little hesitant. If he didn't know Yi Xiaoya, or if they were enemies, then Xiao Chen would have decisively plucked it. But now if he plucked it, would Yi Xiaoya be unhappy? Or perhaps this thing was also useful to her. If he plucked it, what would she do? However, there were two devil centipede fruits here. Xiao Chen thought that if he plucked one, there would still be one left. It should be enough for Yi Xiaoya for the time being. When he came back, he would explain to her. If it really wasn't enough, then he would cultivate it again. Thinking up to this point, Xiao Chen directly stretched out his hand and plucked the demon stalk fruit. The fruit was very beautiful, round and pleasing to the eye. Under the night sky, it glowed, making one want to swallow it with just one look. You can't eat it. After eating, Elder Heaven Ancestor saw that Xiao Chen wanted to have a taste, so he reminded him. Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Thinking of his situation just now, he suddenly felt that it was a little unbelievable. He really wanted to have a taste just now, The devil centipede fruit has a trace of magic power that can affect a person's mind. If you eat it, your whole body will be in a state of madness and fantasy. Although it won't affect you much, at least you won't be able to wake up for a while. Elder Heaven Ancestor reminded him. Then put it in the medicinal ingredients, I'll drink it. Xiaochen was shocked. This devil centipede fruit was really strange. He was already a level 8 refinement stage cultivator. But his mind was still affected by the devil centipede fruit. This thing, it seemed, was not ordinary. That's not a problem, because after taking this medicine, it will be more painful than before. Elder Heaven Ancestor explained. You are a level 8 refinement stage cultivator. You have to prepare for foundation establishment and begin to refine your body again. So the process will be very uncomfortable. This devil centipede fruit will produce a certain amount of hallucinations, which will reduce a lot of your pain. This way, you can relax a lot. So that's its use. When Xiaochen heard this, he was speechless. Damn, I can endure it, I don't need this. If you don't need it, I'm afraid that you will be in so much pain that you will want to commit suicide. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Among the people I know, there are some who are useless, and then commit suicide. Xiaochen was stunned and asked. And then he endured it. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. Are you kidding me? Xiaochen almost choked to death on his own saliva. His strength is higher than yours. He broke through from the foundation establishment stage to the golden core stage in order to become the strongest golden core stage expert. However, at that time, there was no devil centipede fruit to suppress the pain. Elder Heaven Ancestor said. But his strength is higher than yours, and his endurance is also stronger than yours. I'm afraid that you won't be able to. Forget it, no matter what, I've already got it. Xiaochen carefully picked the devil centipede fruit and put it away. After reaching the Shen family, he had to decoct the medicinal liquid as soon as possible, otherwise, it would lose its medicinal properties. Chapter 447. Xiaochen, what are you doing? Shen Jingxian got in the car and saw Xiaochen talking to himself at the flower bed. She was a little puzzled and couldn't help but call out to him. I'm coming. Xiaochen stood up and got in the car quickly. He said to Shen Jingxian, I want to see the medicinal herbs that Yi Xiaoye planted. You see, you still like her. Shen Jingxian said. Such a big thing happened in my family, and you still went to see the medicinal herbs that she planted before you left. No, I stole something. Xiaochen raised the bag in his hand and said, Don't tell her. Ah. Shen Jingxian was slightly stunned. Then she covered her mouth and chuckled. It turns out that you stole her things. Why? She won't give it to you even if you ask her for it. It's too late. Xiaochen said. Let's go. After that, Xiaochen got in the car. Because of such a thing, the atmosphere instantly became a lot more relaxed. Shen Jingshuan's previously hazy mood also improved a little. It was a little cold in Songning City at night, but Shen Jingxian still opened the window and let the cold wind blow in. It was as if only the cold wind could relieve her anxious mood. Are you very hot? Xiaochen's hair stood up in the wind. I'm afraid that you're burning the midnight oil, and your mind isn't clear. Shen Jingxian said. There are 3 lives in the car. You're pregnant? Xiaochen was stunned and looked at Shen Jingxian with some surprise. Didn't she say that she was on her period before? Shen Jingxian unhappily glared at Xiaochen. What I mean is, Yumi, and the white fox, this isn't 3. You don't even understand a joke. It's hard for me not to think crooked. Xiaochen smiled bitterly and closed the window. I'm very awake. I don't sleep under normal circumstances. I also need to cultivate. Shen Jingxian didn't say anything more and turned to look out of the window. The buildings on both sides of the road quickly disappeared into the night. The night in Songning was very quiet, without the hustle and bustle of the sleepless city. It was serene. Of course, this was because the villa area was surrounded by high-end residences, and there was no commercial area. The car sped through the night. On the highway around the city, Xiaochen began to speed up. 100, 200, 260. The car was almost driven to the limit by Xiaochen. Shen Jingxian looked at the blurry scene outside the car window. In the darkness, she could no longer see the surrounding buildings clearly. She felt like she was riding on a high-speed train. She could only see some vague outlines and the lights of the passing vehicles. So fast. Aren't you afraid of being fined for speeding? It wasn't the first time that Shen Jingxian sat in Xiao Chen's car. She didn't have much resistance to the speed, because Xiao Chen's car drove very steadily. Oh, anyway, the owner is Li Shanying. He is dead, and they can't blame me, Xiao Chen said indifferently. Shen Jingxian nodded. Don't worry too much. It's fine as long as we can get there tomorrow morning. Are you tired? If you are tired, take a break. I'll drive. You don't have to, Xiao Chen asked. I'll help you watch the road. Shen Jingxian shook her head and still focused on the front. Although Xiao Chen's speed was very fast, the scene in front of the highway could still be seen clearly. It was just that the place that was very far seemed to be reached in a short while. This feeling was very fun. Shen Jingxian seemed to have returned to her childhood, when she was curious about the first time she took a car. Xiao Chen, what's wrong with the front? Shen Jingxian suddenly pointed to the front and exclaimed. In fact, Xiao Chen had already seen it, but he just didn't want to care. Not far ahead, a young girl was standing in the middle of the highway and waving her hand. Looking at her appearance, she seemed to be very anxious. Her face was a little pale, and her figure was a little thin. In the cold wind of early winter, she was shivering and looked very pitiful. I don't know. Ignore her. Xiao Chen naturally heard that some late at night, a seemingly weak girl was sent to stop a car on the road. If you stopped, a large group of big men rushed up and beat you up and robbed you. In fact, sometimes it wasn't that people didn't do good deeds, but in many cases, people were timid, especially late at night. They didn't dare to stop at will, especially in this wilderness. There were not many cars on the highway at night. There were no villages or shops in front of them. If something happened, they wouldn't be able to help. Ah, she looks very anxious and pitiful, Shen Jingxian said. Xiao Chen, everyone has difficulties just like you in the past. We shouldn't ignore her. Shen Jingxian was a kind person. Xiao Chen knew this before. At this time, after listening to her words, his heart slightly moved. In fact, Shen Jingxian had helped him before. If he refused at this moment, it would be a little unfair to her kindness. In the past, whether it was Miss Shen or Goddess Shen, they both risked their lives to race with him. If he was not willing to help others, it would be unreasonable. Moreover, Xiao Chen was now a cultivator at the 8th level of refinement stage. These ordinary robbers were no threat to him at all. Therefore, even if there was an accident, he could deal with it calmly. At that time, it was uncertain who would rob who. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded but still said, Jingxian, you are a kind girl. In the beginning, it was also this that attracted me. But I still have to say sometimes if you are a girl outside, you don't have to worry about this kind of thing. What if she is a bad person? At that time, if you stop the car, she will bring a group of people to rob you. You don't have to worry about money. But if she wants to rape you, the consequences will be unimaginable. Do you think I am stupid? Shen Jingxian rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen. Her cheeks were a little red. I was thinking that you are in the car. You are so powerful that ordinary people are no match for you. So what if this girl is really in trouble? I just want you to help her. That's good. Xiao Chen was relieved. It seemed that Goddess Shen was not unconditionally overflowing with love. He slowly began to slow down, and finally stopped in front of the girl who waved to stop the car. He opened the window, and Shen Jingxian asked, What's wrong with you? Do you need any help? My grandma is sick. She's in the village up ahead. But it's so late, and there are no long-distance buses. I can only hail a taxi here. Can you take me for a while? Thank you, the girl said anxiously. On the way. Shen Jingxian turned her head and looked at Xiao Chen. If it is on the way, can you take her for a while? Shen Jingxian had a feeling that they were in the same boat. Her grandfather was also sick, and so was this girl's grandmother. So she felt that she must be as anxious as she was. The village ahead. Do we go straight? Do we need to turn? Xiao Chen asked. When he asked, he paid attention to the girl's surroundings. There were no signs of anyone rushing over. Could it be that there was really an urgent villager nearby? There is a fork in the road ahead. We will pass by Mingjia village, but after a turn, We will be able to come out and return to the highway. The girl said, I beg you, I can pay for the car. Take me for a while. It won't take long. You don't have to pay. Get in the car. Xiaochen waved his hand. He didn't lack this bit of money. Now that he saw that there was no one rushing to rob the girl from behind, he believed her words. Okay, thank you, thank you. The girl thanked him profusely. Then, she opened the back door and got in the car. You point the way. I will drive, Xiaochen said to the girl behind him. Okay, go along this road first. When we reach the fork, I will tell you. The girl nodded quickly and said. Xiaochen drove the car, and the speed increased slowly. The girl sitting in the back was a little surprised. She didn't expect Xiaochen to drive so fast. She looked a little scared. She crossed her arms and sat in the back. She didn't say a word, and her eyes were fixed on the direction outside the window. Don't be nervous. He drives a little fast. We also need to hurry. Are you alone in your house? Why are you going out so late at night? It's so dangerous. You know, if you meet someone with bad intentions, you may be in danger. Shen Jingxian said to the girl. Ah, sister, my father and mother are both dead in my house. I'm the only one living here. My mother is married, but she and my father are both infected with the plague, the girl said with some sadness. Just now, I received a call from my uncle saying that my grandmother has an acute illness. I'm afraid she won't make it this time, so I rushed over so quickly. So that's the case. Shen Jingxian sighed and said, I won't hide it from you. My grandfather is also seriously ill. We are rushing through the night, and we are driving so fast because we want to see him. I am also afraid that when the time comes. Ah, I see. The girl was slightly stunned. Her pale face seemed to be a little paler. Her eyes flashed with a touch of pity. I'm sorry, I didn't know that you also have important things. How about you put it down for me? It's okay. It doesn't matter. Shen Jingxian smiled slightly and comforted her. Anyway, his car is fast. It won't take long. Then, okay. The girl nodded. You are so nice. In a while, drop me off at the intersection outside. I will walk in by myself. The girl said. How can that be? It's so dark at night. You are a girl. How can you walk in? Shen Jingxian said. Well, you don't have to think too much. In the car, guide the way. The girl responded. Her mood was a little down. Maybe she thought of her sick grandmother. She closed her mouth and didn't say a word. Just in front. When they were about to reach the intersection, she said, It's in front. If it's troublesome, forget it. It won't be troublesome. Shen Jingxian said, Xiaochen, turn here. Okay. Xiaochen responded faintly, and the car turned into the fork. The car drove forward. This was a dark path. There were no street lights on the highway before. Fortunately, Xiaochen's headlights were xenon headlights. The brightness was relatively high, and they could see a little more clearly. Chapter 448. However, Xiaochen didn't think that there was a village on this road. This road was very desolate. There were no buildings around, not even fields. It was all barren. How could there be a village in such a place? In Xiaochen's heart, there was a slight doubt. In fact, Xiaochen already had some doubts before, but he didn't say it. In his opinion, this girl should be leading them to a place where there was no one, and then robbing them. Perhaps, there were already people waiting for them in front. After all, on the highway, although there were few cars, there were always accidents. Maybe there were police cars patrolling or something. Then these robbers would be unlucky. Therefore, it was better to lure them to a deserted place to carry out the robbery. In this way, no one could see them at all. However, these were just Xiaochen's guesses. He wasn't sure if it was really like this. After all, what if there was really a village here? Xiaochen also knew that some villages were indeed in very remote places. The car continued to move forward. Sure enough, Xiaochen's guess was right. Not far ahead, there was a village with a little light. This should be the village that the girl mentioned, but Xiaochen always felt that there was something wrong. It's here. The girl pointed to the village not far away and said, Thank you. Just stop at the entrance of the village. Xiaochen frowned slightly and stopped the car. At this time, Shen Jingxian wanted to get off the car to send the girl off, but she was stopped by Xiaochen. Jingxian, don't get off. Ah. Shen Jingxian was slightly surprised. Xiao Chun turned around with a cold smile and looked at the girl in the back of the car. He said indifferently, I don't care who you are or what you are. I've already done my best to send you here. There's a saying, you won't die if you don't court death. I hope you can understand its deeper meaning. The young lady's expression froze. Looking at Xiao Chun, a hint of panic flashed across her pale face. Thank you. I'll be leaving first. After saying that, the girl opened the door and quickly got out of the car. Shen Jingxian looked at Xiao Chun with some doubt. Xiao Chun, what do you mean by that? Is this a village? Take a closer look. Xiao Chun casually waved his hand, and Yuan Qi spread out from his body. The village outside the window instantly changed. It was completely different from before. When Shen Jingxian saw the scene outside the window, her expression changed. How could there be a village outside the window? This was a graveyard. There were grave mounds and broken tombstones everywhere. There were also eerie white bones scattered on the ground. It was unknown whether they belonged to humans or animals. It was extremely horrifying. Shen Jingxian was so scared that she subconsciously leaned towards Xiao Chun. The village you saw before was just an illusion. To me, it was just a small trick. Xiao Chun said faintly. His illusion was much stronger than this. This environment could only confuse ordinary people or warriors with weak minds. However, it was too easy for Xiao Chun to see through it. The sixth senses of a cultivator were extraordinarily powerful. Xiao Chun could see through the problem at a glance. However, because of the girl's previous actions, Xiao Chun didn't directly deal with her. It could be seen that this girl still had a conscience. Otherwise, she wouldn't have asked Xiao Chun to stop the car again and again. She walked back by herself. This also showed that she didn't want to harm anyone. She could set up an illusion and even led people to a place like a graveyard. If she said that she was a good person, Xiao Chun wouldn't believe it. Therefore, he directly chased her out of the car. She could do whatever she wanted. It had nothing to do with Xiao Chun. However, just as Xiao Chun wanted to start the car and leave, the girl who got out of the car didn't walk a few steps. Her body stiffened. She turned around, walked back to the car, and opened the door. The girl's action made Xiao Chun a little puzzled. Even Shen Jingxian was trembling at this moment. She looked at the girl in horror. This person actually came to the graveyard. Was she a human or a ghost? Sorry, I saw wrongly. This isn't my grandmother's village. This is a graveyard. We just encountered a ghost wall. The girl said in horror. A ghost wall? Shen Jingxian was slightly stunned, but she had also heard of the ghost wall. Could it be that she really encountered a ghost wall? Because it was really difficult for her to associate the weak girl in front of her with a bad person. In her opinion, the girl in front of her shouldn't be a bad person. Xiao Chun stared at the girl coldly. He didn't say a word and just looked at her. At this time, the girl suddenly winked at Xiao Chun, as if she was hinting something to him. What are you doing? Asked Xiao Chun. We seem to be in the wrong place. Turn the car around. Let's go back, said the girl. This isn't your grandmother's house? Asked Xiao Chun. No, turn around quickly. The girl's voice suddenly became anxious. Can't we go around in front? Asked Xiao Chun. No. As soon as the girl's voice fell, a cold wind swept through the car window, followed by a gloomy laughter. Jia 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 jia. Xiao Yu, you just lured the prey here, and now you want to take them away? Do you want to betray me? Accompanied by the cold wind, a woman's laughing voice sounded outside the car. Grandmother. The girl lowered her head. Her whole body was trembling. She didn't dare to look up. This was a strong evil aura. So Xiao Chun didn't dare to have the slightest neglect. Xiao Chun didn't expect that there would be evil cultivators here. Moreover, their strength shouldn't be low. Jingxian, you stay in the car. Don't go out. I'll go down and take a look, Xiao Chun said decisively. Then his body surged with true qi. He was about to activate the dark flame palm. He stared coldly at the girl in the back of the car. If that's the case, I'll get rid of you first. No, don't. The girl suddenly trembled in fear. Don't kill me. I'm scared. Xiao Chun, don't kill her. She's quite pitiful. She must have been threatened by the person outside. Before, she didn't listen to us and turned around to leave. Shen Jingxian quickly reached out to stop Xiao Chen. All right, Xiao Chen thought for a moment. This girl still had some conscience. Moreover, this girl obviously shouldn't be a threat. So, Xiao Chen didn't pay any more attention to her. He directly pushed the door open and got out of the car. He looked not far away. It was a woman wearing a black conical bamboo hat. Her appearance couldn't be seen clearly, and her age couldn't be determined either. Her entire body was emitting a black aura, and in her hand was a skull. It looked as terrifying as one could imagine. Kid, you're not simple. Jejia, you can actually see through my illusion. The black bamboo hat woman looked at Xiao Chen coldly. Evil cultivator? Xiao Chen was not afraid in the slightest. Her attire could at most scare ordinary people. She must be dreaming if she thought she could scare a cultivator like Xiao Chen. You know about evil cultivators? The black bamboo hat woman was slightly stunned. You're a martial cultivator? What do you think? Xiao Chen didn't answer. Instead he asked. Haha, it's just right. The blood of a martial cultivator is the best nourishment for me. Kid, it's your honor to die under my skirt. The black bamboo hat woman waved her hand. A cloud of black mist flew toward Xiao Chen. What the hell is this? Xiao Chen easily dodged the black bamboo hat woman's attack. However, at this moment, he clearly saw the black bamboo hat woman's strength. Evil cultivator with stage 10 inner force. You're quite nimble. The black bamboo hat woman sneered disdainfully. Because Xiao Chen didn't use any martial arts, he didn't show any inner force. She couldn't judge Xiao Chen's specific strength just by hiding. Therefore, she thought he was only at stage 4 or 5 inner force. Dark Flame Palm. Xiao Chen didn't bother dealing with her at all. Taking advantage of the time she was taunting him, he activated his highest level martial technique. It was equivalent to a martial technique at the peak of the 9th stage of inner strength, and smashed towards the woman in the black bamboo hat. Bastard! The black bamboo hat woman's voice changed and became a little sharp. She realized something was wrong and suddenly retreated. However, she was still hit by Xiao Chen's palm. Even though it wasn't serious, she suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. Peak of stage 9 inner force, evil cultivator. Another palm. Xiao Chen sneered and continued to use his martial arts. He thought to himself, this black bamboo hat woman's reaction is much faster than that elder Shishan. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Corpse soldiers attack him but don't kill him. I want to suck his blood myself. The black bamboo hat woman sneered and gave an order to something. As soon as the black bamboo hat woman's voice fell, the graves next to her began to crack in the blink of an eye. From inside, rotten bones crawled out. The bones, which were the so-called corpse soldiers, crawled out of the graves and surrounded Xiao Chen from all directions. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws, with a strange aura, as if they wanted to devour Xiao Chen. Dark Flame Palm. Xiao Chen waved his hand at the corpse soldiers in front of him. With a loud bang, a few of the corpse soldiers were instantly knocked down and turned into a pile of scattered bones. But to Xiao Chen's surprise, those skeletons that were scattered on the ground actually did not die. Instead, they once again gathered and reassembled, turning into corpse soldiers that surrounded him once again. Don't waste your energy. Just surrender. The black bamboo hat woman sneered and looked at Xiao Chen. Grandma, they are good people. Let them go. At this time, the girl from before suddenly walked out of the car and begged the black bamboo hat woman. Grandma, don't hurt people anymore. They are not bad people. Just now, you wanted to let them go in private. I haven't settled the score with you yet. How dare you talk nonsense with me? The black bamboo hat woman glared at the girl named Xiaoyu. Mind your own business. Chapter 449. But they are really good people, and he is not a pervert. Those perverts that were lured here were killed by you. But he is not. He is a good person. The girl's voice trembled as she begged while crying. This is not right. Humph, you're rebelling, aren't you? You're just a little cultivator. How dare you order me? Do you want to die? The woman in the black bamboo hat scolded. Stay aside, I'll deal with you later. Xiao Chen took advantage of the opportunity when the woman in the black bamboo hat and the girl were talking to each other to quickly think of countermeasures. Although these skeleton soldiers did not have much attack power, A strong man could not stand against so many people, especially when these things could not be killed. After being killed, they would instantly revive with full health. This was simply the existence of a bug. If not for these things, he would still have the strength to fight with the woman in the black bamboo hat. But now, he could not even deal with these corpse soldiers. Just as he defeated one side, the other side revived, giving Xiao Chen a headache. What should he do? What should he do? Is there any cultivator's ability that can restrain them? Suddenly, Xiao Chen's peripheral vision locked onto a broken tombstone, behind the woman in the black bamboo hat not far away. A sneer flashed across the corner of Xiao Chen's mouth. That half of the tombstone slowly rose into the air, and the sharp edge of the broken tombstone happened to be aimed at the woman in the black bamboo hat. Go to hell, Xiao Chen cursed in his heart. That tombstone suddenly stabbed toward the woman in the black bamboo hat, and with a poochie sound, the tombstone pierced through the woman in the black bamboo hat. Ouch! The woman in the black bamboo hat screamed. At this moment, half of her attention was on the corpse soldiers. She had to control these corpse soldiers to attack Xiao Chen. And the other half of her attention was on the girl, Xiao Yu. She was talking to Xiao Yu, and she did not use her evil energy to protect her body, so she was not on guard at all. Even in her dreams, she did not expect that half of the tombstone would fly behind her and pierce through her. There was indeed a connection between the woman in the black bamboo hat and the corpse soldiers. After she was injured, the corpse soldiers all stood still and did not attack Xiao Chen. They just stood there meaninglessly. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xiao Chen sent out a dark flame palm, smashing all the corpse soldiers in front of him, and prepared to deal with the woman in the black bamboo hat. But the woman in the black bamboo hat was not stupid. After being pierced by the tombstone, she did not die. But she did not continue to fight. She got up, gritted her teeth, and ran away. While running, she sneered and shouted, "Just you. I, the old corpse, will never let you go. Next time, I will take your life." Clearly, this woman was very familiar with this area. In the blink of an eye, she disappeared without a trace. Xiao Chen wanted to chase after her, but after thinking about it, he decided against it. After thinking about it again and again, he turned around and walked to the car. After all, Shen Jingxian was still in the car. If he did not catch her, the woman in the black bamboo hat would come back and kill him. At that time, it would be too late for Xiao Chen to regret it. Xiao Chen got in the car and asked Shen Jingxian, "Jingxian, are you scared?" "It's okay now. It's all over." "It's okay." Shen Jingxian was also relieved. Just now, she was also scared to death. The woman in the black bamboo hat was so powerful that she could control the bones to form corpse soldiers. This was simply unheard of. On the other hand, Xiao Chen did not find it strange. These evil cultivators had very strange methods. This was nothing. As for whether the woman in the black bamboo hat was dead or not, he did not think about it. It did not have much to do with him. Xiao Chen wanted to start the car and leave, but Shen Jingxian said, "Xiao Chen, that Xiao Yu is very pitiful. Let's take her away." "Xiao Yu?" Xiao Chen turned his head and looked out the window. The girl was standing in the same place. He hesitated for a moment, then nodded, opened the window and said, "You can get in the car with me." If it weren't for the girl's good heart, and the fact that she helped him at the critical moment, Xiao Chen would have ignored her even if he didn't kill her. Oh. The girl nodded quickly, ran over, opened the door and got in the car. "Tell me what's going on. Who was that granny just now, the old corpse of the West Mountain? And who are you? Why are you with her?" Xiao Chen asked. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. You are good people. I shouldn't have lied to you." Xiao Yu lowered her head, and was a little nervous. She did not dare to look at Xiao Chen, and just kept apologizing. "I want to know the reason, not apologize. If you don't tell me, I don't mind killing you," Xiao Chen said. "The old corpse of Shishan can run away. But you, do you think you can run away by yourself?" Xiao Yu shook her head and said, "My name is Nie Xiao Yu. I'm a ghost cultivator, and I'm controlled by Grandma." "Nie Xiao Yu." Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. "What's your relationship with Nie Xiaoqian?" Nie Xiao Yu was stunned for a long time, then said, "Nothing." "Oh, it's okay. Go on." Xiao Chen nodded and said, How did she control you? I'm a ghost cultivator. A wisp of my primordial spirit is controlled by Grandma. I have to listen to her. If I don't listen to her, she will destroy my soul. Xiaoyu said. So, under her coercion, I helped her deceive people to come here and let her suck my essence and blood. Wait, what is a ghost cultivator? Also, your primordial spirit is controlled by her. What about now? If you go with us, aren't you afraid that she will take revenge on you? Xiaochen asked. Ghost cultivator. Xiaoyu hesitated for a moment and said, Actually, I'm a dead person. Do you believe it? Xiaochen was slightly stunned. A dead person? Xiaoyu was a dead person? Xiaochen's gaze suddenly froze when he looked at her. Sure enough, there was a cold aura on Xiaoyu's body, and there was no vitality. No wonder her face was so pale. However, it was Xiaochen's first time hearing the term ghost cultivator. He didn't know what kind of martial artists it belonged to. Or was it a different kind? I believe it. In other words, martial artists who cultivate dead people are called ghost cultivators? Xiaochen asked. No. Dead people can't cultivate. Xiaoyu shook her head and said, I was killed after I cultivated the mental cultivation method of ghost cultivators, so I could continue to cultivate. Normal dead people can't cultivate. In fact, ghost cultivators are also a branch of evil cultivators, or a branch of demonic cultivators. However, the key point is to put oneself in a desperate situation, and then come back to life. However, there are very few people who really succeed in cultivating it. Generally, death is death, and they will never come back to life, let alone cultivate. Hearing Xiaoyu's words, Xiaochen felt a little horrified, but he still roughly understood her situation. He nodded and said, In other words, you are now a living dead person? More or less. Xiaoyu smiled bitterly. Okay, then what about your primordial spirit? Xiaochen asked. Previously, a wisp of my primordial spirit was extracted by Grandma, the West Mountain Old Corpse. When I was cultivating, she extracted it when I was unprepared to control me. However, you injured her, and she couldn't suppress my primordial spirit, so I took it back, Xiaoyu said. Thank you. Otherwise, I would have been controlled by her to harm people. How did you harm people? How did she cultivate? Who is this West Mountain Old Corpse? Xiaochen asked. This was not the first time he heard about the evil cultivators of West Mountain Old X. There was the West Mountain Old Demon, West Mountain Old Man, and now there was the West Mountain Old Corpse. Where did these evil cultivators come from? Why were they called West Mountain Old X? Did they come from the same place? Do they have any contact with each other? Moreover, when Xiaochen walked out of Songning City, he realized that he was just a frog at the bottom of a well. In the outside world, there were more and more masters of inner force level 10. In just a few days he had seen two, and one was at the peak of inner force level 10. She asked me to rob cars on the road and lure people to this place. Then, I would lure them to get out of the car and hint that I liked them. Many perverts would be happy to have sex with me. I would lure them to the graveyard that was transformed into a village, and then let Grandma have sex with them. She would suck their blood essence, and after they died, they would become corpse soldiers and be controlled by Grandma. Xiaoyu said. You still call her Grandma? Xiaochen frowned. Ah, I'm used to it. Xiaoyu quickly said. It's the West Mountain Old Corpse. I see. But it seems that you are still a kind person. It's not a heinous crime, so I won't punish you. I'll take you away from this place, but you have to rely on yourself in the future. Don't be controlled by these evil cultivators anymore. As Xiaochen said this, he started the car, turned the car around, and returned to the Beltway Highway. The Beltway Highway was a section of Beltway Highway before the highway. There were several forks on the road that led to the city or nearby villages. Xiaoyu chose to stop the car here, so there would be a lot of people who were fooled. Especially at night, many perverts thought that they might have a one-night stand, so they became the food of the West Mountain Old Corpse. Actually, just now, I thought that you were good people, so I kept persuading you to stop. Xiaoyu said. Generally, I will ask kind-hearted people to stop. I won't harm them again. In that case, why didn't you tell me the truth? If a good person like me insisted on doing it to the end, wouldn't I have suffered for nothing? Xiaochen asked. Not as persistent as you. Nie Xiaoyu said timidly. I didn't dare to say it. I was afraid that if I told you, you would beat me to death. You're a yin cultivator. Are you afraid of being beaten to death? What's your strength? Xiaochen asked curiously. Stage 5 inner force. However, my primordial spirit is controlled by the West Mountain Old Corpse, so I can't exert any strength. I can't even beat ordinary people. Nie Xiaoyu said weakly. Okay. Xiaochen's car quickly returned to the Beltway Highway. If they drove forward, they would reach the highway to Lan City. Xiaochen asked. We're going to Lan City. Where are you going? Where should I leave you? Chapter 450. Whatever. It's better to go as far as possible. I'm afraid that the West Mountain Corpse will come back. I can't beat her. Even if she can't extract my primordial spirit in my normal state, she will still kill me. Nie Xiaoyu was obviously very afraid of death. It was possible that she had died once, so she was especially afraid of death. Alright, tell me where to stop, and I'll stop for you. Xiaochen's car entered the highway intersection, and then he drove at a high speed again. Shen Jingxian, who was on the side, was amazed. Although she was born in a Jinwu family, she had never heard of yin cultivators. However, Nie Xiaoyu's experience was really pitiful. First, she was cultivated into a yin cultivator. Then she was killed. And then she was controlled by the West Mountain Corpse. Therefore, Shen Jingxian did not have any resentment towards her. After a while, she took the initiative to talk to her. Nie Xiaoyu, what did you do in the past? Why did you cultivate yin cultivators? My family was destroyed. Nie Xiaoyu hesitated for a moment and said. And I was also taken away to be experimented on yin cultivators. They asked me to practice mental cultivation methods first, and then they killed me. Maybe it was because my reaction was slow. I didn't wake up in a normal time. So they thought I was dead, and threw my body in the wilderness. As a result, I woke up and quickly ran away cultivating while running. If I didn't cultivate, I would die again. I wanted to take revenge for my parents. In the end, I met the West Mountain Corpse. Sigh. Shen Jingxian couldn't help but sigh after hearing this. Nie Xiaoyu's life was really tragic. She couldn't help but feel sympathetic. Xiaochen, can we help her? How? Xiaochen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. First of all, with his strength, it was impossible for him to avenge Nie Xiaoyu. The forces that could create yin cultivators were definitely not small. If Xiaochen went, he would only be courting death. Moreover, he didn't know anything about yin cultivators. It was impossible for him to help Nie Xiaoyu cultivate, so Xiaochen couldn't help at all. Shen Jingxian thought about it carefully and agreed. How could she help Nie Xiaoyu? You are all good people, so I won't trouble you. Besides, you really can't help me much. Nie Xiaoyu said. In fact, even I don't know who my enemy is. Ha! Shen Jingxian didn't expect Nie Xiaoyu to be so miserable. Don't worry about me. I'm lucky to be able to live until now. Nie Xiaoyu shook her head. You are all good people. If there is a chance in the future, I will repay you. Alive. Aren't you dead? Xiaochen smiled bitterly, hearing a dead man say that he would repay him. Why was it so horrifying? How should I put it? I can be regarded as a living dead now. Yin cultivators pay attention to life after death. This life can also be understood as resurrection. It may be a little different, but I'm not much different from a normal person now. And I can still eat. Nie Xiaoyu said. It's just that I feel uncomfortable when I see sunlight, and I will lose strength after a long time, so I'm more suitable to come out at night. You don't have to be afraid of me. I'm not a ghost nor a corpse, I see. Shen Jingxian breathed a sigh of relief. Previously, she was a little afraid of Nie Xiaoyu, and thought that she was very scary. Now that she heard what Nie Xiaoyu said, she realized that Nie Xiaoyu was also a normal person, but her cultivation method was different. There's a fork in the highway up ahead. Just drop me off. I'll find a place to settle down first. This time, I'll rent a house and focus on my cultivation. I won't go to a graveyard, a place with heavy yin qi, just for the sake of cultivating faster. Nie Xiaoyu also learned from her mistakes. Last time, her primordial spirit was extracted by the old corpse of West Mountain there. In front. Isn't it a little close? Are you sure? Don't let the old corpse of West Mountain find you, Xiaochen reminded her. Then where are you going? Nie Xiaoyu asked. We're going to Lan City, Xiaochen said. It's quite far from here. You should be able to live in peace. Then let's go to Lan City. Nie Xiaoyu actually had no purpose. She was afraid of troubling Xiaochen before. Now that it was on the way, she would go with him. Xiaochen drove fast on the highway. Even though he drove very fast, Lan City and Songning were on the border of the south and north, so it would take a long time to buy a house. Finally at dawn, Xiaochen's car arrived at Lan City. After getting off the highway, Xiaochen found a place to put Nie Xiaoyu down. Nie Xiaoyu couldn't see the sun for a long time, so she found a small hotel and stayed there. She planned to look for a house in the evening. Xiaochen drove to the Shen family with Shen Jingxian. When they were about to arrive at the Shen family, Xiaochen took out the mask of the white fox and covered his face. Since he had arrived at the Shen family, he couldn't use Xiaochen's face to show others. It was better for him to use the face of the white fox. Under the guidance of Shen Jingxian, Xiaochen drove the car to the front of a very magnificent manor. This was not out of Xiaochen's expectation. In Songning, the Cheng family was also this imposing. It was normal for the Shen family to be more imposing, as they belonged to the real martial arts family. The manor occupied a large area. It obviously cost a lot of money to build it. However, Xiaochen didn't expect that when the car drove into the manor, a modern atmosphere hit him. The entire manor was like a high-tech development zone, which surprised Xiaochen a little. Didn't these ancient martial arts families like to live in those kind of antique houses? These people who practiced martial arts had an extraordinary fondness and nostalgia for those ancient things. In Songning, even the Xiao family was like this. The house was built according to the style of ancient families as much as possible. There were no tall buildings inside, at most no more than 3 stories, and they were full of martial arts atmosphere. The courtyard was the same with rockery and gardens. Some modern street lights and driveways were avoided as much as possible. However, it was different here. After entering the manor, looking around, there was not only a spacious driveway, but also modern street lights and a modern farm. Is this your home? Why does it feel like a modern big enterprise? Xiaochen asked with some puzzlement. The Shen family was not originally here. The Shen family wasn't originally here. This place was built according to Second Grandpa's idea. Although Second Grandpa's strength level was very high, he wasn't a martial artist when he was young. He even studied abroad. After he came back, by chance he entered the demonic sect and became an expert demonic cultivator. So his thinking was more modern. No one in the family could disobey his arrangements, so the family was built like this. Shen Jingxian said. When I was young, I actually lived in a place similar to Meng Ying's family. So that's how it is. Xiaochen thought that second grandpa of the Shen family was really a legendary figure. He became a monk halfway, but he was so powerful just like himself. The car drove all the way and finally drove into the villa area. It stopped in front of a super large courtyard house. This was the residence of the core members of the Shen family. Those ordinary servants and disciples naturally could not live here. Only the people of the Shen family lived here. Xiaochen parked the car and got out with Shen Jingxian. Shen Jingxian walked quickly to the courtyard house. At the entrance of the courtyard house, there were disciples of the Shen family guarding. When they saw Shen Jingxian, they were slightly surprised, but then they quickly ran over. It was a man in his 20s wearing a training suit. He should be a core disciple of the Shen family. Miss Jingxian, my name is Shen Xiaolu. You are back. Mr. Jinghao said that you will arrive in the morning. When you arrive, I will directly take you to him. The disciple of the Shen family called Shen Xiaolu walked over and said, but his eyes fell on Xiaochen. Because Xiaochen was wearing a mask, Shen Xiaolu was especially vigilant. He asked, Miss Jingxian, this is? This is my boyfriend Baihu. Shen Jingxian introduced, he came with me. My father also knows him. Shen Xiaolu nodded and said, good, you can come with us. But in the inner courtyard of the Shen family, don't make a noise. Understood. Xiaochen did not object. After all, he went to the Shen family, so he had to follow their rules. Xiao Chen and Shen Jingxian followed behind Shen Xiaolu. They walked all the way to a relatively remote villa in the courtyard. But when they walked, they saw a woman in her 40s wearing casual clothes. When she saw Shen Jingxian, she was obviously stunned. Then she came out and said, "Oh, Jingxian, you are back. So it is Aunt Big Aunt." Shen Jingxian raised her head and saw Tan Muwei, the wife of her big uncle. Her big uncle was a core disciple of the Shen family. Unlike her father, who was born from a concubine, his status was naturally not the same. And her big uncle's son, Shen Jingtian, was a strong contender for the position of junior patriarch. But now, it seems that the situation has changed subtly. These martial arts families generally choose the junior patriarch after a generation. They will not choose the junior patriarch from the next generation, unless the age gap is obvious. Because the lifespan of a martial artist is very long. Generally speaking, a father and a son may live for the same amount of time. Therefore, the Shen family used to compete for the position of junior patriarch in Shen Jingmao's generation. But now, because of Shen Jingshuan's grandfather's sudden illness, it is possible that the position of junior patriarch will fall on Shen Jingshuan's father's generation. And the most likely candidate is Shen Jingshuan's big uncle Shen Zhongquan. "Jingxian, who is this? Your bodyguard?" Tan Muwei looked at Xiao Chen and asked. This is my boyfriend, White Fox." Shen Jingxian introduced. "White Fox, this is my aunt. You can also call her aunt." When Xiao Chen was about to greet her, he heard Tan Muwei say coldly, "I can't afford it. Jingxian, if you want a boyfriend, why don't you tell your family? With your grandfather's condition, you still want a boyfriend? This matter needs to be discussed with the family again. The marriage of the Shen family's children needs to listen to the family's arrangements." Chapter 451. Shen Jingxian was stunned. She didn't expect that she would have to tell the Shen family that she had a boyfriend. Wasn't she a neglected person in the Shen family before? Why did Auntie have to take care of this kind of thing after coming back? Xiao Chen's face darkened. But he was wearing a mask, so others couldn't see it. He didn't expect that the problems in the Shen family were more serious than he had imagined. He originally thought that his strength was more than enough to match Shen Jingxian. But she didn't take him seriously at all. Of course, it could also be said that White Fox's name was only limited to Songning City and hadn't spread to Lan City. These people didn't know about him, so it was normal for them to look down on him. "Alright, Jingxian, you go find your father first. As for this White Fox, you are a guest in the Shen family, so you must follow the rules of a guest. Jingxian, arrange a guest room for him." Tan Muwei said coldly. Shen Jingxian was a little hesitant. She wanted to defend Xiao Chen, but she didn't know what to say. However, Xiao Chen just nodded lightly. "Jingxian, take me to the guest room." Although he was a little disappointed, he didn't put Shen Jingxian in a difficult position. Xiao Chen originally thought that he could live with Shen Jingxian in the Shen family and enjoy a shameless cohabitation. He didn't expect that his dream would be shattered. If this old woman wasn't Shen Jingshuan's aunt, Xiao Chen would have sent her flying with a kick. Damn it, why was there so much trouble? However, this person was a member of the Shen family. If Xiao Chen had a conflict with her as soon as he arrived, he would be causing trouble for Goddess Shen. So he endured it. "Alright, I'll take him to visit my father first, then take him to the guest room." Shen Jingxian heaved a sigh of relief. She knew Xiao Chen's character. This guy would kill if he didn't agree with her. But she didn't expect him to be so obedient, which surprised her a little. "Well, then I'll go to work first. Your grandfather needs someone to take care of him. Your eldest uncle has been taking charge of the affairs of the Shen family for the past 2 days. He's very busy." Tan Muwei seemed to be deliberately showing off. She deliberately said that Shen Zhongquan was taking charge of the family. Shen Jingxian didn't say anything, but under Shen Xiaoyou's guidance, they arrived at the entrance of the villa and pressed the doorbell. After a while, the door of the villa opened, and they saw Shen Jinghao's haggard face, as well as Shen Jingmao, who was following behind him, looking a little unhappy. "Dad, how is Grandpa? Is it serious?" Shen Jingmao quickly asked. I heard it's very serious. Shen Jinghao sighed and said, the Shen family's apothecary can only barely keep the old man alive. If we can't find a solution in the next few days, then the apothecary will be powerless and won't be able to keep him alive. Ah, it's so serious, Shen Jingxian said in surprise. However, Xiaochen heard two strange words. It was said, so he asked, Uncle Shen, what do you mean by it is said? You didn't see it yourself? It's not that I didn't see it, Shen Jinghao said helplessly. I'm not the daughter of the main wife, so I can only be classified as a collateral relative in the Shen family. My eldest brother doesn't allow me to see my father, saying that I will disturb his rest. It's really worrying me. How can eldest uncle do this? Shen Jingxian was a little angry after hearing this. He is obviously your father and my grandfather. Why don't you let me see him? It's all because of Shen Zhengquan. He's jumping up and down, trying to get the position. At the beginning, Grandpa said that he wouldn't choose the young master from the second generation. But now there's an accident, and he thinks he can get the position. Shen Jingmao said with some anger. In this period of time, he had paid a lot for the position of the young master. Especially his sister and father, they were trying their best to help him. But now suddenly his hope was shattered. Shen Jingmao was naturally unhappy. Where is Grandpa? I'm going to find him, Shen Jingxian said. Jingmao and I are juniors. Can't we see him? Shen Jingxian said anxiously. You can try. AI. Shen Jinghao sighed. This was also the reason why he wanted Shen Jingmao to get the position. He didn't want to go back to the Shen family. When he went back to the Shen family, he was always the one who wasn't welcomed. Everyone didn't put him in their eyes. This also caused Shen Jinghao's heart to be somewhat distorted and paranoid. He was brooding about the position of the young master and put all his hopes on Shen Jingmao. But now this matter happened. It made his heart feel a little stifled. Although his father's body wasn't very strong, he was a martial artist after all. It shouldn't be a problem for him to persist for 8 to 10 years. At that time, Shen Jingmao still had a chance to get the position. But who would have thought that he would suddenly become critically ill? This made Shen Jinghao lose all his confidence. He was a lot more depressed. Jingmao Baihu, accompany me to see Grandpa, Shen Jingxian said with some eagerness. All right. Shen Jingmao immediately agreed. He didn't do it for the position of the young master. He really wanted to see the safety of his grandfather. When he returned home, he stayed in the villa and didn't see his grandfather. Your grandfather is still in his villa. It's the biggest house in the middle, Shen Jinghao said. Shen Jingshuan's grandfather was this generation's master of the Shen family. Although he was the second great-grandfather, the second great-grandfather rarely asked about things. He usually didn't live here. He was in another separate house and cultivated in seclusion. Together with Shen Jingxian, they went out of the room and came to the door of the biggest villa in the Sihiyuan. This villa was very luxurious and beautiful. It was taller than the other villas, which represented the power of the owner who lived in it. Shen Jingxian walked into the villa with Xiao Chun and Shen Jingmao. Of course, after entering the villa, there was not a room inside, but a large separate courtyard. It could be said that this villa was a courtyard. In the Sihiyuan, there was a separate courtyard. In the courtyard, there were some exquisite potted plants and some garden landscapes. There was also a small pond. The small courtyard was built according to the style of the old house of the Shen family. Although the second great-grandfather was a modern man, Shen Jingshuan's grandfather was a nostalgic person. Even if he didn't dare to disobey the second great-grandfather in the overall architectural direction of the Shen family's big house, he preserved the original style in his courtyard. Therefore, the moment they entered the small courtyard, Shen Jingxian was slightly absent-minded. This was exactly the same as the Shen family when she was a child. At that time, she, Shen Jingmao, and the third generation of the Shen family sat around the round table and listened to her grandfather tell them some interesting stories and life principles. At that time, there was no fighting among the younger generation. There was only the friendship of brothers and sisters. However, this relationship changed at some point. Everyone became wary of each other, and even slandered and framed each other. Shen Jinghao soon took them away from the Shen family. Now, they could only recall the beautiful memories of their childhood. This made Shen Jingxian a little sigh. How she wished that she could go back to her childhood, when she was carefree. However, that was no longer possible. When people grew up, they would find that they had lost a lot of fun. After passing through a rugged path, the three of them came to the villa behind the courtyard. At the door, they could smell the smell of medicinal herbs being brewed. Xiao Chun brewed the medicinal liquid every day, so there was nothing wrong with it. However, Shen Jingxian and Shen Jingmao couldn't help but frown slightly. This should be the medicinal liquid brewed by the clan's apothecary. When the three of them entered the door, they were stopped by someone. This person was Shen Jingshuan's second aunt Su Luhua. Different from Tan Mue, she was also born in a big family. With this relationship, Shen Jingshuan's second uncle was also a strong candidate for the position of the head of the family. Although Shen Zhengquan was jumping up and down, Shen Jingxin was also restless. These days, he had been thinking of ways to be the head of the family. Of course, pleasing the old man was one of his main responsibilities. He didn't have the status of Shen Jingqiuan's eldest son, so he couldn't naturally win over the power of the family. Therefore, he started from the old man, hoping that the old man could say something or make a will to let him be the acting head of the family. Different from Tan Mue's cold personality, Su Luhua seemed to be very enthusiastic when she saw Shen Jingxian. "Jingxian, you are back. Your grandpa mentioned you before." Su Luhua pulled Shen Jingxian with a happy face and said, "Jingmao, you are also here. This is second aunt, this is my boyfriend Baihu. This time, he accompanied me to visit grandpa," said Shen Jingxian. "I see, but Jingxian, it's not that I don't want you to see grandpa, but the current situation is not optimistic. Your eldest uncle made a rule that other than him and your second uncle, no one else in the Shen family can enter the old man's room without permission, and he is now the acting head of the Shen family." Su Luhua shrugged her shoulders and looked at Shen Jingxian with a troubled face. This woman was not simple, Xiao Chen thought in his heart. She obviously didn't want Shen Jingxian to visit Grandpa Shen. But with a few words, she focused the main conflict on Shen Zhengquan. And they had nothing to do. She wanted the Shen family to have a conflict. At that time, all the children of the Shen family would target Shen Zhengquan, and she and Shen Jingxin would benefit from it. It was a good plan. Second aunt, the Shen family is still under Grandpa's control, right? How can Uncle speak for Grandpa? As the children of the Shen family, why can't we visit Grandpa? If Grandpa said this, then I have nothing to say. But since he said it, I won't accept it. Who decided that he was the acting head of the family? Who authorized it? Shen Jingmao was hot-blooded, and he fell into the trap immediately. He said with righteous indignation. However, Xiao Chen didn't say it out loud. It was good to make a scene. The Shen family was too suffocating, and he was also not satisfied with the first branch of the Shen family. At this time, the second son, Shen Jingxin, came out from inside, and behind him was the first aunt Tan Mue. Hearing the noise at the door, Tan Mue's face was a bit ugly. "What's going on? Don't you know that Grandpa is bedridden? Why are you still making noise? Do you think the matter is not big enough?" Chapter 452. "Luhua, what's going on?" "Oh, it's Jingxian and Jingmao." Shen Jingxin glanced at Shen Jingxian and pretended to be confused. "Second uncle, we want to go in and see Grandpa. We don't agree with the order of the acting family head." Shen Jingmao shouted. "Rebellious, you're really rebellious." Tan Mue was furious. She slapped the door beside her and shouted, "It's a special time now. It's reasonable that the acting family head doesn't allow us to visit Grandpa. There are so many children in the Shen family, both from the main family and the branch families. Grandpa won't be able to rest when it's so crowded every day." "Look, Jingxian." Su Luhua shrugged and spread her hands helplessly. "I want to go in today. Let's see what they can do to me." Shen Jingmao was anxious and wanted to rush in. Although Tan Mue was an elder, she wasn't a warrior. Shen Jingmao was a stage 5 inner force warrior. How could she stop him? Although Shen Jingxin was also a warrior, he didn't have any intention of stopping him. Instead he said, "Sister-in-law, I think Jingmao is right. He and Jingxian are very close to our Shin family. It's right to go and see. You don't listen to your elder brother? Tan Mue said angrily. My elder brother is an elder. If he's right, I'll listen. But if he's wrong, I don't dare to agree, right? Shin Jingxian smiled. Grandpa didn't say who is the family head. Elder brother is just older. We younger brothers give in to him. But don't think that he can be a dictator. Tan Mue's face turned red. She stomped her feet and ran out of the villa angrily. Shen Jingxian and Su Luhua looked at each other and smiled. They turned around and followed Shin Jingxian and the others into the villa. They didn't need to do anything else. They just needed to keep provoking the relationship between others and the first branch. Grandpa is here, right? Shin Jingxian came to her grandpa's bedroom and pushed the door open. Shen Jingmao and Xiaochen followed closely behind and entered the room. The room was very large and spacious. Just like the courtyard downstairs, it was also decorated in an ancient style. The wooden bed, wooden table, wooden chairs, and even the electric lamps were antique, the kind of lantern-shaped lamps painted with ink paintings. A tall old man with a pale face was lying on the bed. His head was leaning against a pillow. He wasn't unconscious, but his complexion was very poor. When he saw Shin Jingxian coming in, a glimmer of light flashed through his dull eyes. He said with a trembling voice, Jingxian Jingmao, you're back. There were two people standing in the room. One was carefully checking the old man's pulse, and the other was on standby at the side. The one who was checking the old man's pulse should be the apothecary, and the one on standby was a disciple of the Shin family. This person was Shin Jingshuan's grandfather, Shin Shanha. Although the old man's mental state was not good, his mind was very clear. Grandpa, how are you? Shin Jingxian looked at the haggard grandfather. Her eyes suddenly became wet and red. She ran over and squatted in front of the bed. She held her grandfather's hand and asked, Grandpa, how did you become like this? Weren't you fine before? When people get older, their problems come. Maybe one day, there will be a problem. Jingxian, I haven't seen you for a long time. You've grown up. After Shin Shanha finished speaking, he looked at Shin Jingmao. Jingmao, not bad. I heard that you were very brave at the Songning Summit. You didn't admit defeat in the face of a higher-level opponent. Not bad. You are a disciple of the Shin family. You didn't bring shame to the Shin family. Grandpa, but I still lost. Shin Jingmao was a little embarrassed. Grandpa, are you okay? How do you feel? I'm fine. When people get old, there will be a day like this. Originally, I was going to choose a young master during the new year, but I'm afraid I won't be able to see it. Shin Shanha sighed. What I'm most worried about is the Shin family. I know the situation of the Shin family. If I go, the Shin family will be in chaos. Isn't there your second great-grandfather in charge? Shin Jingxian was stunned, and then said, Besides, Grandpa, you will be fine. Your second great-grandfather came out of seclusion to take a look at me. When he realized that there was no hope, he went back. He doesn't like to bother with the trivial matters of the family, so. Shin Shanha said, And I've also let it go. If your second great-grandfather says there's no hope, then there's no hope. Grandpa. In an instant, Shen Jingshuan's tears flowed. She still had deep feelings for her grandfather. Although perhaps because of some family restrictions, after they grew up, her grandfather rarely asked about them. But in Shen Jingshuan's heart, her grandfather would always be the kind old man who told them stories when they were young. Silly child. It's human nature to grow old and die. I've already let it go. Besides, I'm actually not young anymore. It's rare for a person to live to 70. I'm already 90 this year. Among the warriors, my lifespan is relatively short. But compared to ordinary people, I've lived a long life. Shin Shanha said, Right, White Fox, don't you have medical skills? Let me have a look. Shin Jingxian suddenly thought of Xiaochun. At this time, it was like grasping at a life-saving straw. At that time, Shen Jingmao's serious injury could be cured by Xiaochun. Then her grandfather must have a way. Xiaochun hesitated. It wasn't that he didn't want to help, but the current situation of the Shen family was very complicated. Would these people let him do it easily? Young man, are you Jingshuan's friend? Shen Shanha raised his head and looked at Xiaochun at the side. Why are you still wearing a mask in the house? What does this mean? Grandpa, because of the mental cultivation method he practices, his face can't be seen, so he needs to wear a mask. Shen Jingxian had thought of an excuse along the way, because no one would ask in Songning. But when they came to the Shen family, there would inevitably be people asking. If there was no reasonable explanation, it would lead to unnecessary speculation. So that's how it is. Shen Shanha nodded. However, before Shen Shanha's voice fell, there was a sharp and mean voice outside the door. He doesn't have the face to see people. I don't know if it's because he's too ugly, or because he has a case on him. He came to the Shen family and still wore a mask. Jingxian, I'm afraid you haven't seen his real face, have you? It's better to have less contact with this kind of person in the future. The person who came in was naturally Tan Mue, who had left in a rage before. She saw that the second family let Xiao Chun and Shen Jingxian in, and suddenly became a little angry, so she went to find Shen Zhengquan for help. Sure enough, behind her, Shen Zhengquan came in and angrily walked to Xiao Chun shouting, "Who are you? How did you come to my father's ward? And wearing a mask? Are you plotting something?" "I'm Jingshuan's boyfriend, Baihu. Didn't your wife tell you?" Xiao Chun was really a little disgusted by Shen Jingquan's pretense. On the way here, Tan Mue would definitely mention him to him, but the moment he came in, he pretended not to know him. Was he acting, or was he trying to put on a show? "Boyfriend? Who identified you as Jingshuan's boyfriend? Don't you know that Jingshuan's marriage is decided by her father? We don't even know you. And yet you shamelessly came to the Shen family? No wonder you're wearing a mask to hide. Get out!" Shen Zhengquan shouted at Xiao Chun, and he directly vented his anger at the second family on Xiao Chun. Shen Jingmao was a little anxious. Before, he didn't think much of Xiao Chun, but after the summit, he quite admired Xiao Chun. At this time, naturally, he had to say, "Uncle, Brother Baihu is a doctor that my sister and I invited. He can treat Grandpa. Don't be so rude." "Doctor? He's a doctor?" Tan Mue was immediately amused. "Jingmao, you're still young. Are you being deceived? Do you believe anyone who says he can treat a disease? Don't you know that even Medicine Master Tan of the Warrior Guild said he couldn't do anything? Do you think a doctor is better than my brother?" Although Tan Mue didn't come from a big family, her status in the Shen family rose because her brother went to the Warrior Guild in Lan City to be a medicine master. Although the Zhenwu family wasn't afraid of the local Warrior Guild because they were all managed by the Warrior Guild headquarters, they had to respect the medicine masters in the local Warrior Guild and the Warrior Market. After all, who hadn't gotten sick or injured? Even the herbs used for cultivation had to rely on others to refine, and Tan Mue's brother, Medicine Master Tan, was the chief medicine master in Lan City's Warrior Market. That's not necessarily true. Shen Jingmao's face turned red, and he didn't know how to refute. But Xiao Chun said indifferently, although he didn't want to cause trouble in the Shen family, he wasn't afraid of trouble either. He was here to be a guest, not to be bullied. He was here to support Shen Jingxian, not to be the third grandchild. So Xiao Chun opened his mouth. Although his voice wasn't loud, it was unquestionable. "Whether I know medicine or not, it's not up to me to say it. If I don't try, how will I know?" "Try. You really dare to say it?" This time, not only was Tan Mue unhappy, but Shen Zhengquan was also unhappy. "Jingxian, take your friend out. It's okay to be a guest in the Shen family, but don't wander around. The Shen family is in a critical period now. An outsider shouldn't jump around. Uncle White Fox's medical skills are really amazing." Shen Jingmao was anxious when he heard this. "When I was injured, he was the one who cured me." "Oh." Shen Jingxin, who had been silent, suddenly said, "If that's the case, big brother, why don't I ask him to examine Dad's illness first? If the illness isn't right, then let him go. But what if it's right? Why not give it a try?" "That's right. In this way, the Shen family won't suffer any loss." Su Luhua also said in agreement. "No. If there's a problem, will you take responsibility? Dad's body can't stand being tossed around. If there's a problem, it'll be a big problem," Shen Zhengquan shouted. Chapter 453. It's not like there will be any problems. Maybe he really has a way to cure Dad's illness. Shen Jingxin looked at his brother's exasperated look and felt that it was necessary to let this white fox take a look. Previously, the old man's illness was only seen by Medicine Master Tan, and the two medicine masters in the family were both Medicine Master Tan's disciples. Shen Jingxin didn't think much about it before. After all, he didn't know much about medicine. But now that he saw his brother's expression, he couldn't help but wonder if his brother didn't want his father's illness to be cured. If his father really couldn't hold on, then the biggest beneficiary would naturally be Shen Zhengquan. So, this illness might be curable. But they joined forces with Medicine Master Tan to say that it was impossible. Second brother, do you have bad intentions? Shen Zhengquan said angrily. Stop arguing, I'm not dead yet. Suddenly, a loud roar interrupted the quarrel between the Shen family brothers. The person who spoke was Shen Shanha. He glanced at Shen Jingquan and Shen Jingxin, and both of them lowered their heads in fear. Although Shen Shanha was ill, his prestige was still there. The two of them didn't dare to refute. Since this young man knows medicine, then there's no harm in taking a look. I've lived for so long, and I've never heard of a doctor who could kill someone. This is Jingshuan's kindness, so there's no harm in taking a look. Yes, Shen Jingxin quickly said. Is it a white fox? Then please let my father take a look. Thank you. Shen Jingquan still wanted to say something, but he didn't. He just snorted heavily and stood aside. Grandpa Shen, then I'll start. Xiao Chen smiled and walked in front of Shen Shanha. He said, I'll help you take your pulse first. Okay, young man, are you also a medicine master? Shen Shanha extended his hand and handed it to Xiao Chen to let him take his pulse. Looking at your technique, you should be a medicine master. Medicine masters nowadays are very rare. I know a little. Xiao Chen smiled as he felt Shen Shanha's pulse. But after a while, he frowned slightly because Shen Shanha's pulse was very strange. It was in a mess, as if he was about to die. But it didn't seem like it. There seemed to be something in his body that was fighting against it. After hesitating for a moment, Xiao Chen asked, Grandpa Shen, were you injured when you were young? Isn't that obvious? My dad is a martial artist. How could a martial artist not be injured? Shen Jingquan heard Xiao Chen's question and immediately jumped up. She pointed at Xiao Chen and said angrily, Are you a liar? That's right. Are you a swindler? Usually, those doctors in the Jianghu would ask and deceive to find out about the illness. If you don't understand, then don't look at it. Dad, don't listen to this little liar. I will ask my brother to come again tomorrow. He is studying your condition. Maybe he will have a solution. Tan Mue also followed and said, Big brother and sister-in-law, can you guys calm down? Shen Jingxin said, There is not only pharmacist Tan in this world. I see that this white fox's pulse-feeling technique is very skillful. He should know medicine. Humph. Shen Zhengquan and Tan Mue both snorted coldly and turned their heads. Shen Shanha didn't expect his eldest son and daughter-in-law to be so distrustful of Xiao Chen. They still interrupted when he was diagnosed. He felt a little helpless. If he was healthy, would they dare to do this? When he was doing things, did they have the right to speak? But now, he knew that he didn't have long to live. In fact, he didn't care whether Xiao Chen took a look or not. It was just that he couldn't let Shen Jingxian down. His body had always been weak, so he let Xiao Chen have a try. Hearing his question, he thought about it carefully. As a martial artist, he was injured countless times when he was young. So he said, I have suffered a lot of injuries. May I know where White Fox is referring to? Grandpa Shen, the final injury on your body should be concentrated in this place. Xiao Chen pointed. It was Shen Shanha's liver. The reason why Xiao Chen did this was because he used his Yuan Qi to explore. Old Master Shen's liver meridians were stagnant and blocked. So he should have suffered a very serious internal injury. That's right. Shen Shanha nodded in surprise. Although he was injured countless times in his life, the injury on the liver was one of the most serious. When he was young, a famous master of the Shen family came to challenge him. He was injured when he accepted the challenge, although he won and became famous after the battle, establishing his position as the young master of the Shen family. Because of the injury, he hadn't fully recovered all these years. It also affected him to break through to a higher realm, so his body wasn't very good. After all, organ damage was very serious, even for a martial artist. It's not a secret that my father's liver was injured. Everyone in the Shun family knows it, even outsiders know it. When my father was young, he challenged a famous master of the Shun family. Jingxian must have mentioned this to you, right? My father's injury is old, and it has nothing to do with the problem this time. If you don't have any new theory, then Jingxian, you should take him away. Don't disturb old Master Shun's rest. Shen Jingquan said impatiently. Shen Jingxian looked at Xiao Chun with some expectation, hoping that he could explain. But unexpectedly Xiao Chun said lightly, I don't have any ideas for now. I'll go back and think about it. In just a moment, Xiao Chun had already finished talking with the Elder Heaven Ancestor. But the conclusion was not optimistic. Xiao Chun couldn't make a decision at the moment. This may involve some internal problems of the Shen family, so he didn't dare to act rashly. He planned to go back and discuss it with Shen Jingxian and Shen Zhenghao. You see, I said it's useless. Tan Muwei said sarcastically. Even my brother couldn't use it. What can a young man like him see? After listening to Xiao Chen's words, Shen Jingxian was a little puzzled. She looked at Xiao Chen strangely. She didn't understand why he didn't continue after asking a question. Instead, he said that he had to go back and think about it. Shen Jingmao was also a little anxious. He looked at Xiao Chun, hoping that he could come up with a solution. But Xiao Chun made a gesture to him, telling him to calm down. Grandpa Shun, I'm sorry. Your problem is a little complicated. I have to go back and think about it carefully. After I think about it, I'll come back and continue to treat you. Xiao Chun said. What's there to treat? Jingxian, why don't you take him to rest? Shen Jingquan directly asked. Then I'll have to trouble you. White Fox, if you think of it, come over. If I'm not dead, feel free to treat me. Shen Shanha smiled. Shen Shanha's words made Shen Jingqiuan's face suddenly become a little ugly. At this time Shen Jingxian said, Yes, White Fox, if you think of it, come and find me. I'll be here every day. Okay, then I'll leave first. Xiao Chen nodded and turned to go out. Shen Jingxian and Shen Jingmao said goodbye to Shen Shanha and left the room. When they left, Shen Shanha saw that Shen Jingquan wanted to say something, so he closed his eyes directly. He didn't give him a chance to speak and said faintly, I'm tired. I'm going to rest. You guys can leave. Yes, father. A few people quickly said yes and left the room. On the way back to Xiao Chun, Shen Jingxian couldn't help but ask, White Fox, do you really have no way? Yes, brother White Fox, you're amazing. Do you have no way? Shen Jingmao also asked anxiously. We'll talk about it when we get back. Xiao Chun glanced at the yard. There were many people here, and there might be monitoring devices. Naturally, he wouldn't speak here. Okay. Shen Jingxian nodded. A few people went all the way back to Shen Jinghao's villa. When they entered the door, Shen Jinghao was anxiously pacing back and forth in the living room. When he saw them come in, he quickly asked, White Fox, Jingxian Jingmao, how is it? Did you see your grandfather? What did he say? I saw him. Uncle and second uncle were arguing nonstop, and White Fox also helped to treat Grandpa. Shen Jingxian said simply, Oh, treated? Can he be treated? Shen Jinghao asked eagerly. He was the person who didn't want anything to happen to Shen Shanha. If Shen Shanha was fine, the Shen family could follow the previously set trajectory. In other words, Shen Jingmao still had a chance. But once Shen Shanha was gone, the Shen family would be completely different. Their best fate was to maintain the status quo and run the Shen family's business in Songning City. If it wasn't good, they would be directly kicked out of the family and be no different from ordinary people. Xiao Chen glanced around the room. After the incident with Yu Xiaochuan, he was very suspicious of whether there was monitoring devices here. However, Shen Jinghao seemed to understand what Xiao Chen meant. He shook his head and said, I have checked personally. The house is safe. Don't worry. I have been guarding against other people in the Shen family monitoring me all these years. So I have my own way of finding these things. That's good, Xiao Chen said. Grandpa Shen's situation is a bit complicated. From his current condition he is poisoned. Poisoned? As soon as Xiao Chen said this, everyone present widened their eyes and exclaimed. Shen Jinghao asked anxiously, "How was he poisoned? Was it by mistake or?" "It's definitely not by mistake. He was poisoned. Someone must have poisoned him," Xiao Chen said. "So I didn't say where I was at that time. I think the suspect of poisoning is there." "So that's how it is. What a cruel heart." Shen Jinghao slammed the table angrily. Although he was ambitious and wanted Shen Jingmao to take over, he had never thought of murdering his father. But what about his brothers? They actually poisoned his father? What? White Fox, can we still save him? Shen Jingxian quickly asked. "I haven't figured out a way to detoxify it yet," Xiao Chen said. "How should I say this? Grandpa Shen's situation is very complicated. It is reasonable to say that he should have died long ago. But by coincidence he didn't die." Chapter 454. What do you mean? Shen Jingxian was a little unhappy when she heard Xiao Chen's words. "My grandfather is blessed. How is he supposed to die a long time ago?" "Jingxian, listen to Hero White Fox first. Hero White Fox, tell me who poisoned him." Shen Jinghao frowned and asked. "Is there a need to ask? It must be Uncle's family." At this moment, Shen Jingmao directly said, "When Big Brother White Fox was treating Grandpa, they kept stopping him. Moreover, Auntie's brother is a pharmacist and has treated Grandpa several times. Is it possible that he didn't notice that Grandpa was poisoned? So it was Big Brother?" Shen Jinghao said fiercely. "You're really vicious and pretentious. Hero White Fox, you have to help us this time. Otherwise, once the old man is gone, the next person they'll deal with will definitely be me. It is certain that Medicine Master Tan could see that Grandpa was poisoned. As long as it is not a bad medicine master, anyone can see it." Xiao Chen waved his hand and continued. "However, it's not easy to tell what kind of poison, how many poisons, and why he didn't die after being poisoned. If Xiao Chen didn't have Yuan Qi, and the Elder Heaven ancestor, he wouldn't be able to see it. But with this set of alloy fingers he could see the truth." "How many poisons? How many poisons did he use?" Shen Jinghao was shocked. "It shouldn't be him. I guess there is more than one person," Xiao Chen said. "That's because both of these poisons are highly toxic. There's no need to use two at the same time. Most importantly, these two poisons are fighting poison with poison. They're restraining each other and counteracting each other. If I'm not mistaken, Medicine Master Tan must be wondering why Grandpa Shen hasn't passed away yet." "Oh, what do you mean? Someone poisoned him?" Shen Jinghao asked. "Correct, one of the poisons is very difficult to detect. Even an apothecary wouldn't be able to detect it. But I'm not an apothecary. I'm an adept, so I can detect it," Xiao Chen said. "If my guess is correct, both Shen Jingquan and Shen Jingxin were poisoned. However, Shen Jingquan's poison can be detected, but Shen Jingxin's poison cannot." Shen Jinghao, Shen Jingxian, and Shen Jingmao were stunned when they heard Xiao Chen's analysis. They didn't expect there to be such an inside story. "Then what do we do now? Will something happen to my father?" Shen Jinghao said. "White Fox Hero, do you have any idea? We can't let Shen Jingquan and Shen Jingxin's scheme succeed. It's very troublesome. The two poisons cancel each other out, but even if they cancel each other out, he should have died long ago," Xiao Chen explained. "Then the question is, why is Grandpa Shen still fine?" "Why?" Shen Jinghao asked with his eyes wide open. "Because in his early years his liver was seriously injured, and the nearby meridians were stagnant. These two poisons are concentrated in the liver, so the poison is in the liver. Because the nearby meridians are stagnant, the spread of the poison is slower. In this way Grandpa Shen survived until now," Xiao Chen said. "However, it's very troublesome to solve it. These two poisons, if one is cured, the other will definitely take effect. But I can't think of a way to cure both at the same time. So that's how it is." Shen Jinghao fell into deep thought. The expression on his face was helpless and angry, but there was no way. "Dad, let's go to Grandpa and expose him," Shen Jingmao said angrily. He didn't expect his uncle and second uncle to be so ruthless. "Don't. Shen Jinghao and Xiao Chen stopped him almost at the same time. Shen Jinghao looked at White Fox with some surprise and said, "You first. Uncle Shen should say it first." Xiao Chen smiled. "Jingmao, you don't have any evidence now. If you go and say it, who will believe it? Your uncle and second uncle are ruthless. I'm afraid they will do something bad to you," Shen Jinghao said. "These things can't be believed just because you say it. Yes, the most important thing is that even if Grandpa Shen believes it, it won't do him any good. People with a bad liver can't get angry. If they get angry, it will accelerate the effect of the poison in the liver, and the time they can hold on will be shorter. At that time, I'm afraid." Xiao Chen didn't continue, but he believed that Shen Jingmao should understand. Shen Jingmao lowered his head. His character was a bit impulsive, but he was not a fool. After his father and Xiao Chen said this, he immediately understood that his approach was not realistic. "White Fox, then can you think of a way?" Shen Jingxian asked with some pleading. "Yes." Xiao Chen nodded. "You." Shen Jingxian didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "I'll try my best, but this situation is too complicated." Xiao Chen planned to calm down and study with the Elder Heaven Ancestor. He wasn't very good at medical skills, but the Elder Heaven Ancestor was different. "Good. Then I'll first send you to the guest room to rest." Shen Jingxian also knew that she and Xiao Chen weren't engaged after all. If they lived together, it would cause criticism from the Shen family. It was better to let Xiao Chen live alone. Xiao Chen felt a little helpless. He had thought that he would be able to stay with Goddess Shen, but now, his dream had been shattered. However, he did not insist. A guest should follow the host's wishes. He and Shen Jingxian came to a small house next to the villa. This was obviously a place for guests to stay, but they were not high-class guests. From the scale of the renovation, it should be specially provided for the distant relatives of the Shen family. After all, the house was built in the courtyard. Since he was already here, Xiao Chen moved in. He roughly checked the room, but there were no surveillance cameras or listening devices. He thought that the Shen family wouldn't be so bored as to monitor a guest like him. Besides, he came here at the last minute, and the Shen family didn't prepare for it. "Elder Heaven Ancestor, do you have a way?" As soon as Xiao Chen returned to the room, he hurriedly communicated with the Elder Heaven Ancestor. After all, Xiao Chen didn't want anything to happen to Shen Jingxian. It could be seen that Shen Jingxian and her grandfather had a good relationship. She was very concerned about her grandfather's illness, so how could Xiao Chen help? He would definitely help. "I don't have a way yet," Elder Heaven Ancestor said. "Xiao Chen, I'm not a prop for you to pick up girls. Do you think I'm Doraemon, asking me everything?" Xiao Chen was a little speechless. "Elder Heaven Ancestor, you and I are master and disciple. Why do we have to be so clear? I'll help you fulfill your dream in the future. When I'm powerful, I'll do whatever you want me to do." "That's more like it," Elder Heaven Ancestor said. "All right, I'll think about it. However, his situation is very complicated, and I might not be able to figure it out. If you were an expert in the foundation establishment stage, it would be a piece of cake to cure this poison. However, you're in the Qi refinement stage now. Even if you're in the 10th level of the Qi refinement stage, you're still far from the foundation establishment stage." "All right, then I'll have to trouble Elder Heaven Ancestor," Xiao Chen nodded and said. Xiao Chen settled down here for the time being, but the villa far away in Songning City was already in an uproar. Squatting in front of the flower bed, Yi Xiaoya widened her eyes and watched someone pluck a devil grass fruit. After a long time, she finally stormed into the villa angrily and yelled at Cheng Minjing and Jean Beibei who were having breakfast. "Did you touch my flower bed?" Cheng Minjing looked at Yi Xiaoya confusedly. Jean Beibei, on the other hand, said disdainfully, "Cousin Minjing, this person must be sick. She didn't take good care of her own flower bed, and she asked other people whether they touched it or not. What? Have the weeds you planted withered?" "I didn't touch it." Cheng Minjing merely shook her head. "Yi Xiaoya, don't talk to me like that. I don't owe you anything. Even if I did touch it, the flower bed is the public property of the villa. What can you do?" "Fine. So, it was you who touched it?" Yi Xiaoya said anxiously. "Don't you understand what I'm talking about? I told you they didn't touch it. Cheng Minjing frowned and ignored her. She continued to eat her breakfast. Yi Xiaoya was a little upset. The devil grass fruit was still there when she watered and fertilized it last night. Why was it gone this morning? It must be noted that the devil grass fruit was very difficult to grow. Yi Xiaoya had gone through a lot of trouble to grow 2 of them, which were of great use to her. However, one of them had been lost out of nowhere. How could she not be anxious? Are there any surveillance cameras in this villa? Asked Yi Xiaoya. You are the first tenant to live here. Why are you asking me? Cheng Minjing snapped. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because I can't argue with you. Bebe is often stationed here now. I'm not joking. I really lost one of my herbs. It's very important to me. Yi Xiaoya also knew that her tone had been a little rude due to her anxiety. Therefore, she said sincerely, Minjing, Bebe, did you really not see it? We just woke up. Cheng Minjing rolled her eyes. What about Jingxian and Xiaochen? Asked Yi Xiaoya. Something happened to Jingshuan's family. They left last night. Cheng Minjing said, If you think your herbs are important, you can sleep in a tent next to them. Alright, we have to go to school. After that, Cheng Minjing and Jean Bebe left the villa together. They got into Jean Bebe's car and drove to school. Meanwhile, Yi Xiaoya was pacing back and forth in front of the flower bed gloomily. However, her phone suddenly rang. She had received a push notification from the Warrior Guild. Yi Xiaoya took a look. It turned out to be a mission for warriors near Songning City. Yi Xiaoya browsed through it. Not only did the mission reward points, but there was also a physical reward. It was to explore the ruins of an ancient sect. There are ruins of an ancient sect near Songning City? Really? Yi Xiaoya looked at the push notification in her hand curiously. With the development of technology, the ruins of some sects were not as difficult to find as before. Chapter 455. Looking for the ruins of the ancient sects was something that all the sects and families were passionate about. In the ruins of the ancient sects, there might be a lot of cultivation resources. There might even be some heaven-defying mantras. Whichever sect or family was able to obtain them would have a great increase in strength. However, with the satellite map, it was much easier to find the ruins of the ancient sections. That was why Yi Xiaoya was puzzled. There were ruins of the ancient sects nearby. Why didn't the people in the past discover it? Moreover, how could there be ruins of the ancient sects in the vicinity of such a densely populated city? Thinking of this, Yi Xiaoya couldn't help but click on the push message curiously. I found the ruins of an ancient sect near Songning City. Now I'm gathering experts above the 5th stage of inner strength to explore and excavate it together. After entering the ruins, the treasures obtained can be exchanged for points or distributed equally according to the number of people. I won't take more. It's fair and reasonable. If anyone is interested, please contact me. Don't disturb me if you are below the 5th stage of inner strength. The message was very simple, but it revealed a lot of information. That was, the relic should be near Songning City, but the specific location was not mentioned. Songning City was a relatively large city. It was absolutely impossible to have the relic of an ancient sect in this city. It must be in the surrounding small cities and counties. However, this person did not elaborate. He was afraid that if he said too much, someone would search for it on their own without bringing him, the initiator. However, in the Warrior Guild, experts above the 5th stage of inner strength were rare. 3rd stage or 4th stage was already an extraordinary existence. After all, the local Warrior Guild didn't have many experts, and the experts of those families rarely went to the Warrior Guild to do the mission. This push message made Yi Xiaoya a little tempted. Even if she came from a big sect, who would complain about those cultivation resources? Moreover, the Devil Star sect was actually a relatively small sect in the Devil sect. Their resources were still very limited. After thinking about it, Yi Xiaoya forwarded this mission to the White Fox and said, "Are you interested?" Just as Xiaochen finished his conversation with the Elder Heaven Ancestor, his phone rang. He picked it up and saw that there were actually 3 push notifications, which surprised him. The Warrior Guild's client rarely had push notifications, and it was usually Yi Xiaoya talking to him. Now that there were 3 of them, could it be that Yu Xiaochuan was also looking for him? But that shouldn't be the case. Ever since Yu Xiaochuan found out his true identity, he didn't use the Warrior Guild's app to contact him anymore. He opened it and saw that it was the same as what Yi Xiaoya had received. It was a piece of news about the exploration of the ancient sect ruins for the martial artists near Songning City. Xiaochen glanced at it, and his heart moved slightly. He didn't know why, but he suddenly thought of the immortal resort in Jiduan City. Behind the resort, there was a back mountain. The spiritual energy in the back mountain was obviously not in line with the law. It was richer than other places. Could it be that the ancient ruins were there? However, Xiaochen was only guessing. After all, even if he knew, it would be useless. With his strength alone, it would be difficult to find the entrance. When he was in the Xiao family, Xiao Chun had more or less heard about the ancient ruins, but it was a legendary existence. He heard that it required a lot of martial artists to explore together. There were many traps and dangers inside, and many people never returned. But that was also because the people who went to explore were not strong enough. Now that Xiao Chun had the strength close to the peak of Inner Force Stage 9, it shouldn't be a big problem for him to explore. Because Xiao Chun was in Lan City, he temporarily put this message aside and started to look at the second message. The second message was from a stranger, but this stranger's name was familiar to Xiao Chun. It was a person called Clayden, which was obviously a code name. After thinking about it, other than Clayden University, Xiao Chun couldn't seem to stop talking about this person. Wait. Xiao Chun suddenly returned to the first message and saw that the person who published the ancient sect ruins was this Clayden. This made Xiao Chun a little surprised. Why did this person send him a private message? Returning to the private message, Xiao Chun saw the message. The thing you want is actually the spiritual jade, right? I know where to find this thing. You should have also seen the task entrusted by me. Yes, in the ruins of the ancient sect, there should be spiritual jades, and there is definitely some. In every ancient sect ruins, there will be more or less spiritual jades. I saw that your mission completion rate is 100%, so I really want to work with you. How about it, are you interested? Xiao Chun took a deep breath. It seemed that his previous mission had attracted Clayden. However, Xiao Chun didn't reply immediately. Instead, he opened the third message. This message was sent by Yi Xiaoya. White Fox, take a look at this mission. Are you interested? If you are, let's sign up together. At least we can look after each other. Xiao Chun was a little surprised. He hadn't expected Yi Xiaoya to be interested in this mission. After thinking about it, he replied, Sure, let's go together. However, Clayden has already sent me a private message. I'll check it out first. Alright, if it's real, then we'll sign up. Yi Xiaoya's reply came quickly. Xiao Chun replied to Clayden, Really? If I go, will all the spiritual jade in the ruins belong to me? After sending the message, there was no immediate reply. He didn't know if Clayden was hesitant or didn't see it. After a while, there was a reply. Are you an expert above Stage 5 Inner Force? If there are only 1 or 2 spiritual jades in the ruins, you don't want anything else? Yes, I don't want anything else, Xiao Chun replied readily. Alright, I don't have any problems on my side. When the time comes, I'll speak to the others as the initiator. If no one objects, then it's fine, Clayden replied. I have 2 experts above Stage 5 Inner Force on my side. They want to participate, but I'm not sure what she wants. We'll talk about it when the time comes, Xiao Chun said. Sure. Send me the ID of the Warrior Guild. I'll record it down, Clayden said. Yi Xiaoya White Fox. Xiao Chun sent it over. When we have more than 5 people, we can set off. I'll let you know when the time comes. By the way, are you free in the near future? Clayden asked. Not for the next few days. I have something to do outside. It should be fine in a few days, Xiao Chun said. Definitely not for the next few days. Even if we have enough people, I still have to make preparations. Just in time, we'll contact each other then, Clayden said. Xiao Chun replied with okay, and told Yi Xiaoya about it. Yi Xiaoya said that she understood, and waited for White Fox to come back. After Shen Jingxian and the others left, Tan Mui also left Shen Shanha's courtyard and returned to her own villa. Shen Zhengquan went to deal with the affairs of the Shen family, and Tan Mui secretly called her brother, Tan Muyo. Although the Tan family was currently in the limelight, with her brother being the chief apothecary of Lan City's warrior market, and her sister marrying into the Shen family, both of them knew that it was only temporary. If a family wanted to pass on its legacy, it would be impossible without a solid foundation. The marriage between the Tan family and the Shen family would only end in this generation. It was true that Tan Muyo was an apothecary, but he was not a warrior. His lifespan was the same as an ordinary person. If he died, then so be it. The glory of the Tan family would no longer exist. Therefore, the marriage of the next generation of the Tan family became the most important. Tan Muyo had a son called Tan Jita, who was also Tan Mui's nephew. When he was young, he attended the Shen family's banquets. At that time, he had taken a fancy to Shen Jingxian and had been thinking about her all these years. Although Tan Jita, who was self-proclaimed as one of the 4 young masters of Lan City, had played with many women after his father's rise in status, how could those vulgar women compare to Shen Jingxian? When he was free, he would ask his aunt when Shen Jingxian would return to the Shen family, so that he could visit her. Tan Mui also wanted to facilitate this matter. After all, if Tan Jita and Shen Jingxian got married, then the Tan family could at least continue to exist in the upper class. Tan Mui's thinking was very simple. If Shen Jingxian agreed to the marriage, then she would make the decision and let Shen Jinghao and his family continue to stay in the Shen family. In her eyes, the person who would get to the top was either her husband or her son. It was impossible for anyone else. "Little sister, how is it? Why did you call me? Is that old thing dying?" Tan Muyo asked. "Don't mention it. That old thing is not dying. What's going on?" Tan Mui was also a little puzzled. Logically speaking, old Master Shen should have died long ago. It was impossible for him to hold on until now. Do the herbs you gave him have the effect of curing poison? How is that possible? Those are just some tonics. They have no effect on curing poison and illness. Tan Muyo said, "This old thing may be a warrior. His physical fitness is good. Let's wait a little longer. We can't rush this. Anyway, it's a matter of time." "That's true." Tan Mui nodded. She was indeed the one who poisoned Shen Shanha, because she couldn't wait any longer. If this old thing didn't die, her husband and son would never be able to get to the top. If this dragged on, it was hard to say whether there would be variables in the future. So she took the risk. "By the way, you called me for this?" Tan Muyo asked. "Also, is Tan Jita at home?" Tan Mui asked. "He went out last night and hasn't woken up yet. I'll call him for you." After Tan Muyo finished speaking, she yelled at a room. After a while, Tan Jita's confused voice came from the other side of the phone. "And are you looking for me? Shen Jingxian is back." Tan Mui said, "Get ready to visit the Shen family and propose marriage. Now your uncle is in charge of the family. If things are done properly, there will be no problem." Chapter 456. Really? Jingxian is back? The voice on the other end of the line, which was originally a little muddled, suddenly rose an octave and became incomparably spirited. "Aunt, what should I do? Should I go now?" "Tonight. Get ready and dress up. Come with your father, and bring some gifts. Then, I will help you settle the matter." Tan Mui said. She didn't care about White Fox at all. These big families all followed the patriarchal system. The head of the family had the highest authority, and so did the acting head. Therefore, in her opinion, it was not a problem to arrange a marriage for Shen Jingxian. White Fox could go back to where it came from. "Okay, I understand. Thank you, Aunt," Tan Kita said happily. He couldn't help but lick his lips when he thought of Shen Jingxian. "Well, behave well," Tan Mui reminded him. Previously, the marriage between Shen Jingxian and the Chen family was approved by old Master Shen. However, after the Chen family brothers died, Shen Jingshuan's matter was temporarily put on hold. As for White Fox, Shen Jinghao didn't have time to tell old Master Shen. He originally planned to give everyone a surprise when his second grandpa came out of seclusion. Therefore, Tan Mue took the opportunity and ran over to inform Tan Kita of the news. "Don't worry, Aunt. No matter what, I am one of the 4 young masters of Lon City. I am handsome and elegant," Tan Kita said confidently. Tan Mue hung up the phone and sneered. White Fox, an outsider who came from nowhere, wanted to get involved in the Shin family's matter. Tonight, she would let him see the difference between them. Then he would get lost as soon as possible. What kind of background and ability could a guy who didn't dare to show his real face have? Xiao Chen's lunch was sent by the Shin family's servants. Obviously, the Shin family didn't want to treat him to a meal. Shin Jinghao's family didn't have a high status in the Shin family, so the Shin family didn't specially welcome them. Like Xiao Chen, they ate fast food sent by the Shin family's servants. At around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, a disciple of the Shin family came to report that an important guest had come to the Shin family. He asked Shin Jinghao's family and the White Fox to go over together. This made Xiao Chen a little puzzled. What did the guest of the Shin family have to do with him? However, it didn't matter if he accompanied Shin Jingxian. As soon as Xiao Chen went out, he saw Shin Jingxian and the others coming out. Xiao Chen went up to them. "White Fox, I'm sorry. I don't have a high status in the Shin family. My father doesn't have the final say. I'm sorry to have neglected you." Shin Jingxian said to Xiao Chen apologetically. "That's okay. There are too many problems in the Shin family. We can only take it one step at a time." Xiao Chen wanted to solve the problem of Shin Shanha first. Only when Shin Shanha was fine could the other problems be solved. Otherwise, even if Xiao Chen helped Shin Jingmao get the position of the young master with violence, so what? Don't forget that there was still a key figure in the Shin family. That was Shin Jingshuan's second grandfather. It was said that he was a master among masters. Even if Xiao Chen could suppress these people, he was probably not a match for the second grandfather. The few of them went all the way to the first floor of the Shin family's villa. It was a large living room. At this time, 2 men, one old and one young, were sitting on the sofa. They were chatting happily with Tan Mue and Shin Jingquan. When he saw Shin Jingxian and the others enter, the young man's eyes lit up, and he stood up. On the other hand, Tan Mue turned around with a smile and said, "Jingxian, you're here. Look who's here." "Tankita?" Shin Jingxian was slightly stunned. She knew Tankita, but she didn't have much contact with him. After all, he was a relative of the first branch. She rarely went back to the Shin family. "Yes, Kita's father is my elder brother. He's your eldest uncle. Today, he came to continue to treat Dad. When Kita heard that you're back, he also came and bought you a lot of gifts," Tan Mue said. Shin Jingxian was a little unhappy. She knew that Tan Kita had some bad intentions towards her. He had shown it before. She didn't expect that he would not give up. It seemed that the news of her coming back was leaked by Tan Mue. No wonder she didn't agree when she heard that she had a boyfriend. It was because of Tan Kita. Although she was unhappy, Shin Jingxian had to smile and greet them. "Eldest uncle, cousin Kita, you're here." However, Shin Jingxian deliberately pointed out that they were relatives. Tan Kita was her cousin, so there was no need to think about other things. Tan Kita's eyes flashed with a touch of excitement when he saw Shin Jingxian. He said with a smile, "Jingxian, long time no see. You've become more beautiful. You deserve to be my goddess since I was a child. You're always so radiant." In fact, Tan Kita was a man with a very good appearance. At the moment, he was wearing a decent suit. He had a handsome face and a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. He looked gentle and refined. At first glance, one could tell that he had an extraordinary background. Judging from his appearance alone, he was indeed a very handsome man. However, Xiao Chen's 6 senses were very strong. He could tell at a glance that Tan Kita's complexion was not good. It was obvious that he had overindulged. Wine and women were necessities of his life. He might also have taken some drugs. However, this guy was a warrior. These things were hidden very well. It was not to the extent that it would affect his health and strength. Of course, it was also because he was young. If he was older, there would inevitably be some problems. Really? Shin Jingxian did not want to be entangled with Tan Kita, so she introduced him directly. This is my boyfriend, White Fox. He came back with me this time. White Fox, this is my cousin Tankita. Play the guitar. Xiao Chun was stunned. What's your relationship with playing the chicken? Tankita is my younger brother. What's wrong? Do you know him? Tankita was also stunned. He looked at Xiao Chun inexplicably. He thought, could this person be an acquaintance? It's fine. Xiao Chun was speechless. This family was full of weirdos. This name is too funny. Oh, Tankita was a bit inexplicable. He nodded to Xiao Chun and reached out his hand. He said, White Fox, right? Did we know each other before? Or do you know my younger brother? Ahem. Tan Muyao's face slightly changed. The White Fox was wearing a mask, so no one could see his emotions. Therefore, it was easy for people to misunderstand his real meaning. However, Tan Muyao was old and shrewd. Thinking about the tone of the White Fox, she knew that it was not a good thing. Therefore, she scolded Tan Kita. Kita, he doesn't know your brother. He is just joking with you. Ah, just joking. Tan Kita nodded. He did not expect Xiao Chun to scold him. After all, Xiao Chun's expression could not be seen through the mask. He still said politely, in Lon City, I Tan Kita, am still very useful. White Fox, if you have any problems, you can look for me. I'll help you settle it. Where does White Fox work? In fact, what Tan Kita said before was nonsense. The last sentence was what he wanted to ask. He was a bit unsure about White Fox's background. I'm Jingshuan's classmate. Xiao Chun shook hands with him and said casually, I'm just a student. Where else can I work? Oh, Tan Kita let out a sigh of relief at once. He understood clearly. So he's just a student. Then he doesn't have any background. In the schools of the secular world, the most powerful students are just the children of those aristocratic families. But compared with the Shen family, they are too far behind. Of course, they can't compare with the son of the chief pharmacist. Of course, Tan Kita was also a smart person. He disdained Xiao Chen's identity in his heart. But he was still very warm on the surface. He knew that Shen Jingxian was a cheerful and generous person. She hated those petty tricks. Therefore, he could plot against Xiao Chun behind his back. But he still looked very warm on the surface. Jingxian and I are childhood sweethearts. You're Jingshuan's classmate, so you're also my friend. How about it? Do you have time? I'll take you around Lon City and give me a chance to play host, Tankita said warmly. Forget it. Xiao Chun shook his head and said, I'm accompanying Jingxian. Now that Grandpa Shun is seriously ill in bed, it's not good for me to go sightseeing. It's better for me to stay here quietly. After listening to Xiao Chen's words, Tan Kita was even more sure that he was not a member of a big family. If he was a member of a very powerful family, he would usually be very arrogant. How could he abide by the rules of the Shen family? He guessed that he was just an ordinary classmate of Shen Jingxian. He did not know how he got the favor of Shen Jingxian. However, this kind of relationship was very fragile. As long as he gave him some benefits, it would not be difficult to get him. The only thing that puzzled Tan Kita was, why was this White Fox wearing a mask? Was he ashamed to meet people? It doesn't matter. We can't stop living because of Grandpa Shen's illness, right? Tan Kita said with a smile. I believe that Jingxian will understand, and so will the Shen family. Yes, White Fox. Since you are a guest of the Shen family, it's not suitable to take you out to play with the Shen family's current situation. However, since Kita has the heart, let him take you around, Shen Jingquan said. He was now the person in charge of the Shen family, so he naturally represented the Shen family when he spoke. Okay, let's talk about it later, Xiao Chen casually replied, and did not take it to heart. If it was said that Tan Kita was sincerely inviting him out to play, even Xiao Chen himself would not believe it. This guy was obviously interested in Shen Jingxian. How could he treat him with sincerity? However, because of Shen Jingshuan's reputation, Xiao Chen did not directly refute Shen Jingquan. Dad, let's go and see Grandpa Shen together, Tan Kita said. Okay, Jingquan, is old Shen awake? Can we go and see him now? Tan Muyao asked. It should be about time. Shen Jingquan nodded and said, let's go up together. Then these people went upstairs together to see Shen Shanha. On the way, Tan Kita was still talking to Xiao Chen. White Fox, why are you wearing a mask? Oh, it's the mental cultivation method that I practice. It can't be exposed to light, Xiao Chen said. Chapter 457. Oh, you are also a martial artist? Tan Jita was slightly surprised. He didn't expect Xiao Chen to be a martial artist. Then you should not be an ordinary student, right? Which family are you from? I am not from a family, Xiao Chen said. Oh, then you are a rogue cultivator. It is not easy to be a rogue cultivator. After Tan Jita heard this, his heart calmed down. Then what is your strength now? Not much strength, still very weak. Xiao Chen said. There was still a certain distance to reach the foundation stage. Oh, practicing martial arts is indeed very tiring. Look at me. I'm already a martial artist at the 6th layer of inner strength. However, this is also thanks to my father being the chief pharmacist of the Lon City Martial Artists Market. He often refines medicinal liquids and pills for me. Tan Jita said until here. He was probably a few steps behind the group in front of him. Then he directly asked, White Fox, let's not beat around the bush. You like Jingxian, right? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Tan Jita to suddenly ask this. But he quickly replied, I am her boyfriend. Naturally, I like her. Why do you ask? Very well, to be honest, I like her too. Tan Jita looked at Xiao Chen and said honestly, Of course, I heard that Jingxian is the goddess of the masses, so it's normal for you to like her. But have you ever thought about it? Marriage is about matching families. In order to ensure their own prosperity, big families will marry families that match their family's status. Even if there is a gap, it will not be too big. The Shen family is a martial arts family. So the marriage of the children of the Shen family is a very serious issue. Oh, and then? Xiao Chen nodded and asked. You still don't understand what I mean? Tan Jita was a little depressed. How can this guy not understand what I'm talking about? It was already so obvious, and he still asked me then? I understand. So, you are saying that I am not good enough for Shen Jingxian? Xiao Chen laughed. It seems like you understand. That's good. Tan Jita breathed a sigh of relief. Talking to smart people is really refreshing. Since you are also a martial artist, then I won't say anything else. How about this? You break up with Jingxian. I can give you some cultivation resources that you can't even imagine. I'm not interested. Cultivation is just my side job, Xiao Chen said. What do you mean? What's your main profession? Tan Jita was slightly taken aback. Of course, my main job is to woo Goddess Shen, Xiao Chen said with a smile. Uft. Tan Jita almost choked to death on his own saliva. He stared at Xiao Chen with widened eyes. After a while he said, Brat, don't be so shameless. Who do you think you are? Believe it or not, I can make sure that you won't be able to leave Lon City alive. What? Since you can't entice me, you're starting to threaten me. Xiao Chen said coldly. Do you think that the warrior guild won't care if you kill people indiscriminately? You're right. My father is the chief apothecary of Lon City's warrior market. Even the president of Lon City's warrior guild needs my father's help. Tan Jita said arrogantly. Moreover, do you think that I will leave any evidence if I kill you? So if I don't agree I will die, right? Xiao Chen asked in return. You can understand it that way. Tan Jita said proudly. All right, I don't want to live anymore. Xiao Chen finished speaking and walked away quickly. Damn it, this brat can't be thinking that I'm joking, right? Looking at Xiao Chen leaving in a carefree manner, as if he was not threatened at all, Tan Jita was a little depressed. He shook his head and said, It seems that these loose cultivators still think that the martial arts world is the same as the secular world, where people can't be killed indiscriminately. When they arrived at Shinshanha's room, Tan Muyo pretended to take Shinshanha's pulse, then said worriedly, The old man's problem doesn't seem to be getting better. He should be getting old and his body is failing. In this kind of situation, even a deity would be powerless to save him. Thank you, Xiao Tan. I understand my own problem. It's rare for you to come over and take my pulse whenever you're free. Shinshanha thanked him. Old Shin, you're too polite. Because of Xiao Wei, I'm considered your junior. As a junior, I naturally have to be more attentive. Moreover, I'm an apothecary. Tan Muyo said this and sighed. I can only blame myself for not being skilled in medicine. There's nothing I can do. Haha, I've already gotten over it. It doesn't matter. Shin Shanha smiled and said, I'm just worried about the Shin family. When Shin Junquan heard this, he suddenly felt uncomfortable in his heart. He secretly cursed, you old fart. You've held the power of the family for so many years, yet you don't know how to give up your position. Choosing a young master requires a comprehensive examination. You don't even care about me, the eldest son. In fact, Shin Shanha did not decide on the heir of the family. It was also out of consideration for the future of the Shin family. The Shin family was for the capable. Shin Shanha knew that this was the only way to ensure the prosperity of the family. Actually, I still have a last resort. When Tan Muyo said this, his words paused as if he wanted to say something but stopped. Oh, brother, what else is there? Tell me quickly. As long as it can cure father's illness, it's not a problem no matter how difficult and troublesome it is. Tan Muyo said quickly. Xiao Chun looked coldly at Tan Muyo and Tan Muyo, who were putting on a show. Xiao Chun was almost sure that Shin Shanha's illness was caused by them. Now they were still putting on a show in front of him. It was really disgusting. However, before Xiao Chun thought of a solution, it was not bad to watch them put on a show. When Gita was young, I took him to a master to teach him pharmacology and knowledge of medicinal properties, but this kid's mind was not on pharmacists. He liked to practice martial arts and later became a warrior. Tan Muyo said, and his master has now become a famous pharmacist. He now works in the Warriors Market of the Warriors Guild headquarters. Now he has become the chief pharmacist of the Warriors Guild headquarters. If he is willing to come forward to treat him, there is still a glimmer of hope. Oh, then hurry up and find that powerful pharmacist. Tan Muyo said quickly. The brother and sister were so well coordinated that they could even act in a movie. My personal relationship with him is not that good. In the past, I just asked a friend to take Gita as a master. After all, Gita doesn't listen to me. I taught him, but he didn't listen. So I thought of finding someone for him. Tan Muyo said. However, Gita and his master have been in contact all these years. If Gita comes forward, it is still possible to invite him. Then what are you waiting for? Gita, call your powerful master and ask him to help treat your grandpa Shen. Tan Muyo said. Aunt, I want to. Tan Gita said with a wry smile. Do you think I didn't call him before? However, people at my master's level rarely meddle in other people's business. He will refuse ordinary people who look for him. Otherwise, there are countless people looking for him every day. He doesn't need to do anything else. He can't deal with these people who ask him for help. Aren't you his disciple? There should be no problem, right? Tan Muyo said. I have no problem, but the affairs of the Shin family are not my business. Tan Gita explained helplessly. In fact, I have no direct relationship with the Shin family. And my master can't interfere with such things just because my aunt married into the Shin family. He will only interfere if I have a relationship with the Shin family. Think about it. If everyone who knows him asks him for help on behalf of their relatives and friends, wouldn't he be too busy? So my master made a rule that even if it's an acquaintance, it can only be his own business. Other than that, he will not come out of the mountain. Then it's difficult. Tan Muyo was a little disappointed. At this time, Shin Junquan said, in fact, it's not impossible. I know that Gita has always liked Jingxian. They are childhood sweethearts. How about this? If they get engaged, then the affairs of the Shin family will be Gita's business. Jingxian, are you willing to marry Gita for your grandpa? Shin Jingshuan's face turned red. She wasn't good at scheming, but even if she wasn't good at it at this time, she understood that Tan Muyo, Tan Gita, and Shin Junquan were all acting. In the end, their goal was the matter between her and Tan Gita. Jingxian, do you want to see your grandpa go on like this? Tan Muyo questioned. Don't you have any filial piety? Why are you still hesitating? In my opinion, it's just a formality whether they have a relationship or not. How about letting Tan Gita recognize Elder Shen as his foster grandpa? Isn't that fine? Xiao Chen said indifferently. The affairs of the foster grandpa are Tan Gita's own business. Will his master not help him? How can it be the same? Foster grandpa is not reliable at all. Tan Mui said. It's just talk. It can't be proven. Why should he help him, right, Gita? Of course. Tan Gita nodded and said. But if Jingxian is my wife, then there will be no problem. At that time, Medicine Master Ji will definitely come forward to help. Jingxian, what do you think? Shen Zhengquan looked at Shen Jingxian and asked, then looked at Shen Jinghao. Jinghao, what do you think about this? Shen Jingmao clenched his fists at the side. There were a few times when he wanted to flare up, but he knew that the Shen family would not tolerate his impudence. There was no place for him to speak, and no one would listen to him. All right, don't make things difficult for the child. At this moment, Shen Shanha suddenly said, I know my own problem. Even if another pharmacist came, it would be difficult to cure my problem. Let's not talk about this anymore. Hearing Shen Shanha's words, the room immediately quieted down. Tan Mui was a little unwilling, but there was nothing she could do. She could only wait until she went downstairs to persuade Shen Jingxian and Shen Jinghao. Chapter 458. Okay, I'm tired. I'm going to rest. You guys can leave now. Shen Shanha gasped for breath. He looked tired and closed his eyes. Obviously, he was disappointed with the children of the Shen family. Although he was sick, he wasn't confused. He was clear about the little tricks that Tan Mui and Tan Muyo used, but their reasons were high-sounding, so he couldn't say anything. Moreover, he didn't want to die, but he had no choice. However, if he had to sacrifice the happiness of the younger generation, he would rather not do it. He was a selfless person. For the sake of the Shen family, he could give up a lot. The current situation was a little out of control. Every day, the fight between the first branch and the second branch exhausted him mentally and physically. Now Shen Jingxian was involved. Shen Shanha was really a little tired. The people in the room left the room, went downstairs, and returned to the living room again. At this time, the atmosphere was a little silent. Jinghao, think about what I said before. Shen Zhengquan said to Shen Jinghao directly. She didn't put Xiao Chen in her eyes at all. She directly treated him as heir. For the sake of the Shen family, this marriage is good for both you and me. I can guarantee that if you agree, your branch will stay in the Shen family, and you will be responsible for the Shen family's affairs. Shen Jingquan's condition made Shen Jinghao slightly stunned. However, he had seen the power of White Fox. At this moment, although he didn't know why White Fox had been enduring, he couldn't agree to Shen Jingquan's condition. Moreover, his ambition wasn't small. He wanted Shen Jingmao to be the next leader. He wasn't satisfied with just staying in the Shen family. If that happened, all his previous efforts would be in vain. There's nothing to think about. I respect Jingquan's decision, Shen Jinghao said coldly. His words surprised Xiao Chen. Shen Jinghao shouldn't be such a loyal person, but he probably saw that Xiao Chen was much stronger than Tan Jita. However, he couldn't say anything in this situation. After all, no one would believe him if he boasted about how awesome the White Fox was. Shen Jinghao left the villa with Shen Jingxian, Shen Jingmao and Xiao Chen. Shen Zhengquan looked at their backs, and a trace of gloom flashed across his eyes. Although he was the acting family head now, his words didn't have any effect, which made him very angry. Uncle-in-law. Tan Jita looked at Shen Jingquan's back as he left, and a greedy look flashed across his eyes. This matter? It doesn't matter. You can pursue him normally. As for that White Fox, if you can't do it, use some tricks to kill him. As long as he's dead, everything will be easy. Shen Zhengquan did not put Xiao Chen in her eyes at all. I understand, Tan Jita said with a sinister smile. Shen Jingxian and the others returned to their villa, while Xiao Chen returned to his guest room. After returning, there was nothing else to do, so he began to brew the medicinal liquid. Xiao Chen was used to brewing the medicinal liquid at night, and the devil centipede fruit just happened to be effective. Who knew that just as he finished brewing the electric clay pot, the doorbell would ring? Xiao Chen thought that it was the Shen family's servant who came to deliver dinner, but when he opened the door it wasn't. There was nothing in the person's hands. Who are you looking for? Xiao Chen asked in puzzlement. Mr. White Fox. The Shen family disciple at the door said. Old Master Shen asked me to look for you alone. I'm his servant. Oh. Xiao Chen was a little surprised. Shen Shanha is looking for me? Didn't he just see me? Therefore, Xiao Chen looked at the person at the door suspiciously. Is he Shen Shanha's servant? Could it be that Shen Zhengquan, or Tanjita, found someone to trick me out, and then harm me? However, after thinking about it, Xiao Chen did not mind it. His current strength was already considered at the peak of cultivators. If Shen Zhengquan and Tanjita wanted to harm him, he could just kill them. That way no one would know. Now, asked Xiao Chen. Yes, old master said that if you have time, you can go over. He has something to tell you, said the Shen family disciple. All right, please lead the way, Xiao Chen said straightforwardly. The Shen family disciple nodded and walked in front. Xiao Chen followed behind him. In the end, they really came to the previous villa again, which surprised Xiao Chen. After entering the villa, they went upstairs smoothly. They didn't expect to be besieged by Shen Zhengquan and Tanjita. They stopped at the door of Shen Shanha's room, where Xiao Chen had just left. The Shen family disciple knocked on the door, and Shen Shanha's tired voice came from inside. Is it White Fox, my friend? Please come in. Mr. White Fox, please. I won't go in. The Shen family disciple made a gesture and said. Xiao Chen pushed the door and saw Shen Shanha lying on the bed alone. When he saw Xiao Chen come in, he forced a smile and said, White Fox, do whatever you want. Okay. Xiao Chen sat casually in front of Shen Shanha's bed and asked curiously, Grandpa Shen, why did you ask me to come here again? I believe that you should have seen my problem during the day, but you didn't say it. Shen Shanha said, My problem actually I know. It's incurable. That's not necessarily true, Grandpa Shen. I will think of a way. Xiao Chen didn't quite understand the meaning of Shen Shanha's words, but he still comforted him. You don't have to persuade me. In fact, from your expression, I can see that you really know medicine. Shen Shanha said. It's just that my body is not sick. Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. But it seemed that although Shen Shanha was sick, he was not stupid. His mind was still clear. He nodded and said, Yes, Grandpa Shen, you are poisoned. The poison is in my injured part, and it can't be resolved. Shen Shanha sighed and said, If I leave, I don't know what will become of the Shen family. I don't want to find out who poisoned me. It's just a few people. So Grandpa Shen knows, then I won't say more. Xiao Chen was very surprised that Shen Shanha seemed to know everything. The prosperity of the Shen family relies on unity, but the second generation of the Shen family is like this. I saw it before, so I didn't choose the successor of the young master from them. I plan to choose directly from the third generation, Shen Shanha said. But I didn't expect that I would be tricked. I really can't rest assured where the Shen family will go in the future. Xiao Chen nodded. Big families also had their sorrows. Families like the Xiao family were already like this, not to mention a real martial arts family, like the Shen family. So the only way the Shen family can maintain its current status is to rely on marriage. Otherwise, with Zheng Quan's ability, the Shen family will soon decline. Shen Shanha said, He can't be the master. Xiao Chen frowned slightly, and didn't understand what Shen Shanha meant. Actually, among the children of the third generation, I am more optimistic about Jing Mao. Shen Shanha continued. But I am not optimistic about Zheng Hao. He is a mercenary. I didn't like him since I was a child, but it doesn't affect my love for Jing Mao. So, if Jing Mao wants to be the master, then Jing Xuan's marriage will become particularly important. White Fox, do you understand what I mean? You mean, let me leave Jing Xian and let her marry Tanjita's Tan family? Asked Xiao Chen. Tanjita? No. Shen Shanha smiled and shook his head. I'm talking about you, White Fox. Me. Xiao Chen thought that Shen Shanha also wanted to persuade him to separate from Shen Jingxian, but it didn't seem to be the case. I heard about Songning. I've been paying attention to Jing Mao. Shen Shanha said. You are young, but you are already a demonic cultivator at the 8th stage of inner strength. Your future is limitless, so I am very relieved that you are with Jingxian. But, Can the demonic star sect fully support Jing Mao's ascension? Oh, Xiaochen was really surprised this time. He didn't expect Shen Shanhe to know so much even though he was lying in bed. Judging from the attitude of the Shen family today, these people didn't know who he was at all. But it was no wonder. Shen Jinghao and Shen Jingmao were both marginal figures in the Shen family. Who would pay attention to them? Not to mention paying attention to White Fox. White Fox's name was only famous in Songning. If the Shen family didn't care about him, then it was normal that they didn't know. However, Shen Shanhe even knew that he was at the 8th stage of inner strength. Obviously, he paid special attention to him. One had to know that the 8th stage of inner strength was just broken through when he fought against Leng Youxiang. It was only revealed at the end. I don't think the demonic star sect will. Xiaochen told the truth. He knew his own family well. He had nothing to do with the demonic star sect, so he couldn't lie to Shen Shanhe. That's true. How can a sect participate in the battle of the Zhenwu family? Shen Shanhe was a little disappointed. The 8th stage of inner strength is still a little weak. Zheng Quan is at the 8th stage of inner strength. You guys are only tied. You can't suppress him. If second uncle also supports Zheng Quan, then Jing Mao will have no chance at all. That second uncle doesn't care about family affairs, right? Why would he support Uncle Jingshuan's side? Xiaochen asked. Although he doesn't care about these things, he doesn't want the Shen family to have endless infighting. So letting Zheng Quan take over is the simplest and easiest way. If it's someone else, it won't be legitimate, and it'll take a lot of effort. So of course if I leave, Zheng Quan will definitely take over. Shen Shanhe sighed. I guess this unfilial son is aware of this, so he dares to act recklessly. Tan Miao? What a shitty pharmacist. He gave me some bad medicine. Is he trying to make me die? Puffed. Xiaochen coughed twice and said, I'll try my best. As long as you agree to let Jing Mao take over, then I'll have the confidence to stir up trouble in the Shen family. You want to use force? Shen Shanhe was slightly stunned. I can't say force, but I won't let Shen Zhengquan get what he wants. Xiaochen said, I just don't know how strong the second uncle is. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.